hello
right.
there, the angel of my nightmare.
Always.
So Dan's like, oh, well, right, yeah. And expecting him to say, oh, it's my other dog. He's going to ask me mum. do you mind me spreading him? Like, and
No.
so now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh. I was like seeing bits of hip bone and all sorts, you know what I mean?
no.
Like splinters of bone and that.
That is wild.
And it was there for weeks.
It's like buying love, isn't it? It's like buying.
what is
it's
all
like
that
buying
about?
success. It's like buying.
Mate,
like,
there's a couple of people that was on my Instagram that I followed and just normal, and then all of a sudden they blue tick themselves and buy a load of followers, like a load of Chinese people follow them, and they're up at like 20,000 followers.
Yeah, it happens
like,
overnight.
What's all that about?
Yeah.
Larky Complex was our Yately.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was our Yately. And then as the years have gone on, you've had all these anglers that have fished, and it's almost like the baton gets passed down. So after, like it's like a revolving every 5 years. One of the boys got a bit scared because there's no grating on one of the windows, so the prisoners are talking to us, and all I hear is the drill come through the tin, and him go whoa, and his hands up in the air like that. And I've looked at him, mate, and I'm like, what's just happened? And I've gone, mate, you all right? And he's walking towards me like that now, going, ho, ho. And they're shotgunning C3s, and you're going, oh, mate, what's going on? Like, what's happened?
I know.
Is that social media that's kicked that in? People want
It's got
Is it
social
a
media
status
side
They
of
want to
things.
stick the yellow straps on, I think, and get in the pictures. And I do think as well, I don't think waiting lists are waiting lists anymore. Like, it might be a 10-year waiting list, but you're not getting on that. Sort of sheeping people up.
Yeah.
Quite ruthless about it. And then when they're getting sort of bad press, they're sort of going, oh well, they don't like me because I've caught so many. No, it's not.
It's not that.
It's not
because
that.
you're a bellend.
Yeah, it's not that. It is.
You know what I mean?
You're fucking right. There's no other way of saying it.
Yeah, it's because you're being a bellend, mate.
Fucking tit.
You know what I mean? You're not being friendly. You're not being
Absolute
humble.
helmet.
You're not being nice. Yeah.
Pratt, as Baz would say. Cupped his balls from the other end. It's only a cock. So now there's that saying, like, it's only a cock.
Oh, mate, it's only a cock.
Big
That's
up Baz's
insane.
cock.
Welcome to the United Anglers podcast with me, your host, Matthew Forshaw. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow so you don't miss any of the up and coming episodes. If you want to send us a voice note, hit us up on the email below. Follow us on all socials, and I hope you like the next episode. Right, welcome to the United Anglers podcast. Thanks for coming in, mate. How are we doing?
Yeah, all good.
All good?
All good.
So, to introduce yourself, this is Matty Hennon from Medway Valley.
The big Medway Valley.
The big Medway Valley. Actually, wanted to say how much response we got from when I put that post out saying, who do you want on next? The response for you was unbelievable. Literally,
Pressure's on.
literally every other person I was like showing my missus, like, honestly, they just keeps coming in. Matty Hennon. But yeah, apparently you can spin a yarn, and
Well, we'll see.
yeah, so no pressure,
see.
mate, no pressure.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, thanks for bringing in the beers, mate. I'm in.
Cheers, Matty. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
Ben.
The old ding
Ching
up.
ching.
Yeah,
One from
I've never
over
tried
here.
one of these, and you
Same.
were swearing by them. So
Yeah, these are. It's a good beer.
yeah,
It is a good beer. The only downfall is that they're not cold.
ice
but
cold, but yeah,
It's a good
we'll go
beer.
with it.
Need to get a
a
fridge in here, don't we?
wheat beer.
That's what we need. We need a fridge sponsor. Someone like Whirlpool.
Little tabletop fridge out there. Any tabletop fridge sponsors?
Quite cloudy.
Red Bull, something like that. would be
Quite
pretty
cloudy, isn't it?
Mm.
It's a nice beer though.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's lovely.
Anyone who knows me will know I'm into my beer, so thanks for bringing that on. I appreciate that.
Every day after work too. Stop in the M&S garage. A couple of dingers on the way home.
And that was the other one, the Blue Moon.
Yeah, Blue Moon.
drink a
Blue
lot?
Moon. That's another one.
I need to try that. That looks good as
Yeah.
well.
Very nice beer.
So yeah, obviously got the sponsors to thank for the free giveaway this month. We got the Boilie Caddy, which is pretty cool. We're going to be going in with the voice note of the month, so you'll get to choose that. So when you listen to them later on, you get to pick who the lucky winner is. But we'll be sending this out. So yeah, let's get into it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Start off with, obviously you're from Medway Valley, Leybourne, what you do for a living, and how you got into fishing and everything. how you started.
So from the Medway Valley, scaffolder by trade, big
Oh, yeah.
scaff, big scaff. Yeah, scaffolder by trade, and then fishing. I'd say it's not your normal. It's not my dad that got me into it.
Okay.
I would. No one from my family really does fishing. My dad couldn't grasp it when I finally started like taking it up.
That's a bit different because most people, like you say, that question could become a bit boring.
Yeah,
because most people are just like, oh, my dad got me into it when I was 7. And,
or my older brother.
Yeah, but that's quite interesting.
But yeah, no one was into it. So really, how it started for me was being from Snodland. We've, as you know, from fishing down in the Medway Valley, got loads of water.
Yeah.
So much water down there. As soon as I started secondary school and started knocking about with a few of the boys, a couple of them were anglers through their fathers and stuff, so I just sort of tag along with them. And then it sort of just went from there, doing a bit of float fishing for tench, doing a bit of pike fishing. Nothing too serious. Just all
enjoying it.
Just enjoying it. It weren't like a massive... I fish weekly, but it wasn't like something that I was going out to...
I'm not surprised, like you say, the water's down there. You're just literally, if you look at anyone who looks like Leybourne Lakes or something, like around the Snodland area, it's just lakes everywhere.
If you've got the map up there and had a look, it's got to be like 20 lakes.
There's more water than there is land.
It's ridiculous. So like looking back on it now, really, I didn't think that I'd end up where I am now. It was just sort of like a little bit of fun. And then as you sort of got into 14, 15, then it'd be like going for a fag or... whatever, like herbal fag or whatever. But,
one of those funny fags.
Yeah, one of the funny fags. And it was just sort of a way of getting out. And I mean, social media weren't around then, and PlayStation, we weren't really, even though we had PlayStations, we weren't really. I think we were the last of being sort of going out and doing bits. Building camps, having fires, and so it then sort of stopped. When I was about 17, 18, I moved back up where my mum's originally from, like Woolwich way.
Okay. Went
to live with my uncle for a bit, done my apprenticeship. Funnily enough, done my apprenticeship doing tree surgery and gardening and stuff.
Okay. I used to be a gardener, actually.
Yeah, there you go. The old gardener, planting flowers.
It's not good in the winter.
It's horrible.
That's why I stopped.
It's horrible. Knees hurt as well, where you're constantly in knees planting.
It's a bit of a grim job, actually. But in the summer, it's sticky and horrible, and everything's sticking to you, innit? And in the winter, you're soaking wet and cold.
Yeah, I didn't last too long doing it, to be fair. I'd done my apprenticeship, done it for another couple of years, and then straight on the scaffold. But I've done my apprenticeship in Hyde Park. So you've got the Serpentine that runs through it.
Right, okay.
So the Serpentine Lake runs through Hyde Park into Kensington.
Yeah.
And I worked with a boy there called Ryan, who I haven't spoke with for years. So if you're listening to this, Ryan, fair play to you, mate. He was a carp angler. Haven't spoke to him since then, so I probably was about, say, 18.
Right.
And it sort of reignited it. Even though I didn't go, it reignited it a little bit because you're having them carpy conversations.
Yeah. So it's just,
in our breaks and that, we're looking for carp on the Serpentine and stuff like that. So I had like a little fault, but it was still... I didn't have gear. There was I didn't have nowhere to fish. Other than Ryan, who was doing a little bit sort of close to where he was.
Yeah.
I didn't have no one to go with. So I sort of just parked it still.
And had to rebuild your gear up.
Yeah, got to rebuild the gear. And
that's quite a daunting task as well, if you've been out of it for the game for a bit.
It is.
Like, everything moves so quick in the industry.
Yeah, but I think by the time I end up picking it back up, everything had completely changed.
Yeah.
Moved back down from London, I'd say 22. And it wasn't until... So 24, started scaffolding and ended up working with the bloke I'm working with now, Tappy, who's one of my best mates. And he was the one that got me back into it.
Really,
Yeah, kept on at me. Go on, mate, come on. We'll go tackle shop. And then I'll buy a couple of reels, and then I'll buy a couple of rods. And then, like, before we know it, we've ended up joining, I think we joined Ford Lake in the Medway Valley. That was the first lake we joined back.
Yeah.
And then it just spiralled from there.
Have they still got Ford?
Yeah, they've still got Ford.
On the Medway side of things, because it's split now, isn't it?
Yeah, they've still got Ford. So they've got Ford, they've got Trout, they've got Big, they've got Brooklands and Abbey Meads.
Okay. Yeah,
Woodlands is gone.
I didn't know if they had Ford or not. Yeah, no, fair play.
Yeah, Ford.
And that kind of like restarted the flame and the buzz and
reignited
really into it. And I suppose that's where you got really into your carp fishing side of things rather than the tench and the flow fishing.
Yeah, Ford Lake reignited that.
Yeah.
Even though I only done a couple of nights on there. Quickly got my Trout Lake ticket, and then Trout Lake was the one. Ford Lake got the buzz back.
Yep.
Trout Lake was the one that sort of, set the ball rolling. Really, with the carp fishing.
So you scaffolding. You obviously got a thing for heights because you were saying about tree surgery as well.
Yeah.
So you're not scared of heights then?
No, scaffolding's it's a funny old game. Every scaffolder you and meet has got a screw loose.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all definitely a type, but I don't want to diss the scaffolders. I know I've got some mates that are scaffolders, and I know a few scaffolders, and they're all good lads, top lads.
Yeah, we get a bad name. We're the most hated on site.
I wouldn't say hated. I think you're I don't know. You just it's like you got those things on. You go around on TikTok and Insta, aren't they? And they got the scaffolder walks in, and they're the generic type of scaffolder, generic roofer, and then the plumber and the electrician.
The stereotypical scaffolders,
charged up on the roof. You know what I mean? Beers and smoking weed and that, and then you got the electricians on the other hand who are just a bit like this and don't know how to use a broom and stuff like that. But it does make me laugh when you see those videos come out of all the tradies.
Mate, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I liked it. When I first started, I liked it. Then I went through, I think, and everyone goes through that, I went through a stage of really hating it.
Really?
But then...
Why? Well, the weather?
No, I think because when you start labouring, you do your tickets, and you get dogged. Luckily, when I started scaffolding late, so I'd already done my apprenticeship, so I knew what it was like to be green in a trade. So you get digs and stuff when you're 18, 19 and you're first coming through. So I was quite lucky that when I started at 24, 25, I had already been through that. So I knew how to handle that sort of stuff. But still, you do turn up on site and there's
I can imagine it's pretty ruthless in the scaffold.
Yeah, it is,
I'm
not going to have a row today.
Who am I going to have to fight with today? You know what I mean?
And I'm quite good, I'm the wind up. I like making people bite.
Yeah.
And I've sort of take quite big pride in the fact that I don't bite easy, so I sort of laugh things off. And there's times where you sort of biting your lip because you're like,
he's got me there.
Yeah. So I went through that little stage of hating it, but then you come out the back of it. Then you do all your tickets. You're fully qualified, and you're
talking about tickets. It's quite interesting because I thought I don't want to put scaffolders down, but I didn't think there was that much. A lot of people out there probably think that you could just become a scaffolder like that.
And it was
and that's not putting them down. I just think compared to some other trades.
Yeah, it was.
But you have to have tickets and you have to have qualifications, right?
It was massively like that.
Right.
It was, and it's only been, I'd say, the last sort of 20 years, 15 years that tickets have then started to become more important, and then especially the last sort of 5.
Is that commercial and domestic, or?
It's starting to go into the domestic side of it. So street scaffolders still don't really. There's still a few that don't have tickets because HSE are coming so hard on it because you're working at height.
Dangerous game, isn't it? You see those funny videos as well. The scaffolders lifting the poles and doing staring down the barrel when they hold it up in the sky and that. And you think I know how much they weigh.
On the chin.
Yeah, on your chin or whatever if you're a complete nutter. But everything you're lifting is weighing so much. You've got cars, you've got houses, you've got people walking by you. Why are you trying to erect these fucking things? You know what I mean? It's a dangerous game, so I can understand why they got the tickets in.
Yeah, they are starting to
knuckling down on it. Yeah,
clamp down on it, because where you're working at height now, most times, on the big sites like Kias and contractors like that, you have to have a drug and alcohol test straight away.
Really?
They always single out the scaffolders. Medicals. Every 2 years you have to have medicals.
Is there a limit on how high scaffolding can be?
Yeah, that's a good question.
As long as it's tied in. As long as it's tied in correctly.
Wow, so something like the shard.
Yeah, that was all. Yeah,
was that scaffold?
Yeah, that's mental when they think it goes that high.
You never do you? Because you always just think it's cranes and bits and bobs that when it starts getting 30 stories up.
It reminds me of that. Have you seen those bamboo scaffolds they do out in?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No way.
And it's crazy. No harnesses.
Really?
All made out of bamboo.
What?
And it's the same principles. I don't think they use clamps and that. They probably use that bloody rope.
They lash it.
They lash it. And it's a strong, strong make bamboo. But you see these buildings and they've got all that bamboo around them. That's just like,
Yeah, it's
that must be
carnage.
hard work, mate, as well. Not as heavy, not as hard going, but probably doing all the lassoing. And
Yeah,
all
and you
that.
see them, they're like walking
Time
along a
pressure.
little
Amazing.
bit of bamboo, and they're running across.
Just running
it.
across it in their
Yeah,
shorts and
way.
t-shirt, or shorts, no t-shirt, like no hard hat, no shoes on.
Yeah. Toes in between. Yeah, using their toes to go through it.
Whoa, what's the sort of highest buildings you've done?
I reckon the highest I've been sort of 150, 200.
Wow.
That is high.
You ever had an issue with like, there's those people who like climb up those types of buildings, like free runners and stuff like that. Like sometimes they
have you ever
get on
found-
site when there's like late nights
Yeah.
or whatever. Or
Yeah, you do have. I mean, most of them are they're alarmed now.
Are they?
So yeah, on the big sites, you have like alarms on the scaffold. You have like round the hoarding of the actual site itself.
Yeah.
They're alarmed. So yeah, like if someone's going to break in, they're onto it quick. But there has been over the years I've been scaffolding. There's been accidents where people have.
Do you have to like tie your ladders up and stuff like that so people can't just climb up them?
Yeah. Ladders need to be tied off, and like when we go for Christmas break, we take all the ladders off the.
Yeah. People get a
Off
bit
the
drunk,
site.
get a bit stupid.
It's like.
Something crazy happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're working in a prison at the minute. I mentioned to you before.
Yeah,
we're
it's
working
the
in
next
prison.
thing I was going to ask you
Really?
actually. You're working in a prison, which is pretty interesting. It's quite a local prison, isn't it? Is it
HMP High Down.
High Down?
Over in Sutton.
Oh, really?
Not too far from here, yeah.
Big up the High Down boys.
We got the High Down
They
boys.
probably listen.
Yeah.
yeah, they have
Couple of
phones.
anglers in.
100% they got phones.
Yeah, they got phones in there, mate. They'll be
Mate,
shouting out.
I love it. It's
Give us
carnage.
a
It's
shout if
lovely,
you're
isn't
listening in High Down.
it? Yeah. Hold tight, the High Down boys.
Fucking hell. What's it like there?
Mate, it's brilliant. But
Yeah?
everything you build has to be tin sheeted. So but we do it all. So it's the first time I've ever, like normally when we've worked in prisons, Littlewoods come in.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Littlewoods, like fencing company?
No.
So they come in and they do all the tin sheeting, and they do the razor wire, and they do like a concrete haunching around the
Okay.
bottom of it.
Yeah.
So it's all prison spec. So
Yeah.
if a prisoner gets out, they can't.
They can't climb
They
up
can't
and get
climb
out,
it.
basically. Yeah.
That's mad.
But our boss has decided, right, there's a bit of room here to make a bit more money. The boys are going to do it.
Like
So
it,
yeah,
like it.
we're doing the tin sheeting, and we're doing the razor wire.
Did you have to
We're
be
doing
trained in
haunting.
that? Because obviously it has to be to a certain standard so that people don't just break out like...
You'd think so.
Would you think so? Or was it...
You'd think so. And we've just had a thing where,
Oh, God.
so 2 weeks ago, I'm stood there. So the thing, you can't pre-drill the sheet. So imagine a scaffold tower,
Yeah.
and then on the outside you put tubes. We call them purlins. You put the tubes in so that when the tin sits up against it, you drill just over the top of where the tube is, and there's a J-bolt that comes through the sheet, connects to
Yeah.
the tube, washer, tie it in. So we've got like a process. Drilling through the bottom, you have to keep a bit of pressure on it, drill through the bottom, then like communicating, it's coming through the middle now, then it's coming through the top.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
One of the boys got a bit scared because there's no grating on one of the windows, so the prisoners are talking to us. Now, they've been good as gold, but he's just shitting himself because we're working in a prison, and so he's hurrying it up. All of a sudden, he's drilling the bottom, and one of the boys got his hand against the thing, right? And I'm stood about 30 foot away with one of the boys. We're just about to grab another tin sheet, and all I hear is the drill come through the tin, and him go, whoa! And his hands up in the air like that. And I've looked at my mate, and I'm like, what's just happened? And I've gone, mate, you all right? And he's walking towards me like that now, going, ho, ho.
No way.
Making this weird old noise, making this weird old noise. And he's got to me, and there's like a little pool of blood in his palm.
Shit.
And I'm like,
Oh, here we go.
fuck's sake, this is all we need now. So I'm like, come with me. So I've taken him we've got like little, like the shipping containers that become canteens.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got like canteen, first aid box and that in there. Get the first aid box out, get a bit of like sort of gauge, bandagey stuff, wipe it, see the hole, get him under the tap. By this point now he is dripping.
Is it?
And this boy, like, he's the type of bloke, right? And he is shot to bits. He's away with the fairies. Like, he makes weird noises. Like, throughout the day, you would just hear him go, like, he's one of them. Like, he's proper off key. Yeah. And he just walks around going, Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown. Like, he's fucked.
Yeah.
But he's good entertainment. He's quiet. He ain't saying a word. And I'm like,
you know when something's wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah, because he's not saying nothing. It's coming off him. Water just dripping. And I'm like, I'm talking to him and it's not registering. Got the alcohol wiping. By this point, Tappy, who I've mentioned earlier, he's coming. So me and him now are like looking at each other like, shit, this is all we need. Like, in a prison, it's for weights as well, big contractor. You don't need this. You're looking at it, it's going to be a Riddor. We're thinking like, his hand's mangled. Like, he turned it round and it had gone 95% of the way through his hand. It was a 12mm diamond bit.
Wow, that's like
95% of the way through.
all the ligaments there and everything.
When he turned it over, it was like the size of a Cadbury's cream egg underneath his skin.
Wow.
But after wiping that pool of blood away, no more blood come out. So what's happened? The diamond point's gone in and sort of made like a vacuum. So the blood
Almost
can't get
like
out.
Sealed it.
But then
Wow.
I've gone as he's turning it over. I've gone, you're right, and he just looked at it and gone, like, so he's pressed it and it
Just literally burst.
And then as soon as he stopped pressing it stopped bleeding. It was it's strange.
Strange. So maybe it hit something. Like, no, he ain't got no.
Strange, mate.
So what happened? Did you take him to hospital? Or?
Yeah, so he's sitting there. We've sorted it all out. We've wiped it up, sorted it all out, bandaged it up. Prison escorts are coming in and they're like freaking out by this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like he's go and get him like a sugary drink or something.
Yeah.
And then he starts yawning.
Freaking
Where
out
now the shock's set in, he starts yawning, but
yeah.
then he starts making this real weird noise and he's going, oh. Right, so now me and Tappy are looking at each other and we're like, oh.
Now the adrenaline's weared off.
Yeah, and he's making, and we're trying not to laugh.
Oh God.
Right, we'll walk you out. Right, we'll walk you out. And he's gone, no, I can't walk. And I've gone, mate, it's your hand. Come on, walk out.
Help us out here.
Now, deviating from that a little bit, my dad, he's retired now, but he was a paramedic. And if that was me and I didn't walk out, he would have crucified me.
Yeah,
that's a hand.
Yeah,
all right, I know you're in shock, but let's walk out. Like,
yeah.
Your legs work.
Fair play.
So he gets the ambulance comes in and takes him away. And luckily, he hit no tendons. He hit no ligaments, and he didn't damage any bone.
What?
So it's just like a puncture hole, like.
The plastic surgeon said to him, "I do not know
how you didn't hit something."
Obviously, it's unlucky that it's happened to you, but it's lucky that. Like, and he was back,
I was
he was
about to
back to work
say
next
your
day.
hand and your feet, like the amount of bones, the amount of ligaments.
He was smack bang in
veins.
the middle. Like, I don't know how it missed.
What do you call him now? Jesus? He's like half.
I was calling him Christ. I was calling him Christ the Redeemer.
Oh, yeah.
So when it's
What a
happened, and the
nickname.
prison escorts, I'm like, "Don't worry, mate. We'll bring you in after break. I've got a cross in here. Like we'll put you up." And he's just like just looking. Yeah, ain't registering.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
Christ the Redeemer. But
Christ the Redeemer.
he was back to work the next day. Like, it was mad.
That is
Oh,
crazy.
just
And
making
then
noises
and
again.
just laughing about it. So luckily,
Bless him.
he didn't have to get reported as a Riddor because he's not off,
Yeah.
and it just went down as a serious accident.
Serious
Yeah,
accident.
Which happens. It happens in
It
trades.
happens,
Come
yeah.
on. We're not all perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, mad
Accidents
old thing.
happen.
So yeah, that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But
Have you seen anything else? Anything else happened at High Down or?
well, you got the prisoners in there. They're always saying like, "Oh, what's the security like, bruv?" And you're like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "Oh, you get an iPhone in, like, I'll give you $1,000."
Oh, that.
So you're getting offered $1,000 for an iPhone.
Could make a bit of side hustle, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Why
I
not?
always think like,
I reckon we get my
like,
drone and zzz, send
Drop
them
them
in.
That happens.
It does
Do you know
happen.
what?
I've
There's a
seen
big
that on
sign.
TV.
There's a big sign out the front of
No
High Down.
drones.
No drones.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
There's a
Just
big
flying
sign.
stuff in, burner phones.
There's a
Like,
big sign.
God.
But yeah, you get all that, and I always think, like, how are you gonna fucking pay for that? How are you paying for that?
Well, I think there's ways, but yeah.
But yeah, so you get that. You've got. To be fair, they're good as gold. Like, do you
Well, it's a
want a
bit
cup
of
of tea?
bit of activity around them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose, you know,
Ones without the grating on. Do you want a cup
something
of tea?
going on, yeah.
Oh, I ain't gonna risk a cup of tea from you, mate. But yeah, no. Cheers, mate.
Are
Got
there
anything a
any,
bit stronger in now?
Something different though, isn't it?
But
And
they
is,
all,
is that a male one you work?
Yeah, male one, and most of them. So, we was working on this block. We're working, on house block 4. We're on at the minute. But as we're coming round it, there's like on some of the grating, they've got like their potatoes and carrots, and and they're all outside in the gratings. They've put them out, and I've said to them, oh, why is all their vegetables out there? Like, what's all that about? And they're like, they're making hooch. So they put they buy all their potatoes and all that sort of stuff, and they put it outside their window. And then they let it ferment in the sun, and then they start making it. So you know where you need to go if you want a bit.
Bit of the
I've got hip flask here, mate.
They're up to it, aren't they?
But yeah, no, it is a good place to work, mate. It's
different, isn't it? Better than being in some old house.
Got a couple of years worth of work in now.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be in there for a while now.
Do you think that contract will lead on to other prisons and other places like that?
It all depends who's in the prison. So we have got another job with Wandsworth Prison, but that's for Kia.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's for Kia.
That's so weird. I drove past that the other day. Took the wrong road. I was coming out of London, went past Wandsworth roundabout, that street spot,
I know.
and I accidentally took the first right, or second right or something, and ended up going past it, so I know where that is now.
Yeah.
That's the one that's on real high alert.
Yeah, I was like, didn't they have a breakout or something?
They had a breakout, and then they had the screw that was doing bits.
Oh, always.
Come to high down.
Mate, I've been in high down, to be fair. I was going to mention it. I won't mention his name, but...
what did you do? Why were you in
there? Yeah. My mate... You'd like to know, wouldn't you? But,
this is when the podcast takes a different twist.
Yeah.
Thought we were talking about angling.
Fuck the fishing. Right, what are we talking about now?
No, I had a mate in there. I used to visit him quite a bit. And, yeah, it's a funny old place to be.
Yeah,
it's a funny old situation, like... You know, you feel like you've done something yourself when you walk into places like that. Like, you go through all this security, you're getting checked left, right, and centre, and obviously rightly so. And then you get to go to this tuck shop, and it's like
the Clink
shop.
Yeah, the Clink. Was it the Clink?
I don't
know. Did you go to the Clink?
I don't know what it's called.
You walk in and it's like it looks like a 5-star restaurant. Did you ever go in that bit?
No, I didn't go in that bit. No, so we had this like tuck shop. You walk up, you can literally buy anything from like milkshakes, any sort of like fizzy drinks, like sweets.
What, for you or
no,
for the
you're buying it for you. So when you go and visit and you sit down, you can give it to them. And every time my mate would always be like, "Fucking make sure you bring some money, boy, because I'm hungry." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I used to go to the tuck shop and just fill up with all the snacks, mate. But obviously he was weight training in there as well. So after a few visits, he would get a bit picky about what you're bringing. If you bought him like a pack of Haribos, and he was like, "What's that?"
It's not protein, bro.
He's like, "I fucking no protein in that."
It's not protein.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
I'm bulking.
Yeah. So I had to you have to bring fucking get the sandwiches with like egg in it and stuff like that. So it's got some sort of trace of protein. But yeah, it was a funny old experience. Bless him, he's out now, he's all good and straight now, you know, you get caught up in a few things and that's it.
Mate, it can happen, can't it?
Yeah.
It can happen, like, just
he's a good boy.
Silly things like they can make an example of you and you just end up doing a few years or whatever. But
you ever seen that film Falling Down? You ever seen that?
No.
It's got Michael Douglas in it, and it's just like a normal regular dude who works in an office, just has a bad day, gets like a parking ticket and just escalates, and then he's like shooting people in a diner or something. They're just losing it, and I get a parking ticket the other day, and I was just like, this is my moment.
2 days later I'm in prison. What happened?
I just got a £60 fine. I just lost it.
I'll get you an iPhone in if you end up.
Yeah. Drop it down the scaffold tube.
I can watch the podcast. They're still going without me.
Fuck, you know. I don't know how. Wouldn't be able to set up the cameras, would we?
It's all on auto.
Don't really do much.
I was on a job the other day, and she said, "Oh, you're quite good at this." And I was like, "Actually, my first day," and her face just
face drop goes white.
I've been doing it a few years now.
Fucking hell. Oh, right. Well, we've gone off a little bit there, but good chat. Well, where did obviously go back into fishing? You mentioned Ford Lake, and you got onto the trout with your mate that you work with now. Do you work with him?
Yeah, still work with Tappy. Yeah, he's one of my best mates. Like, he won't mind me talking about him. He loves it.
What's his name? Tappy.
Yeah, Tappy.
Shout out to Tappy.
Big old Taps. He's one of them. He'll never sell his gear. It just grows. He's a hoarder. He just hoards everything. But he just comes to be the chef. He just loves being around the social side of it. Yeah, he's that person that you'll be on a right hardcore lake, fishing for X amount of fish or whatever, and he's just turns out, give a shit if I catch or whatever, as long as I'm seeing everyone else happy. That's enough for him. Like, at work, he's completely different. He's the misery monster.
Oh, really?
People hurt themselves and he gets happy over it. Like, so when the boy got at the drill point, like, he's not like chasing the cat. You know what I mean?
Happening, yeah.
Yeah, he's the misery monster. But then outside of fishing,
I love it.
It's like Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. Outside of fishing, he just like when we're down the lake, he just likes to see everyone happy.
That's important though, isn't it? That you've
dude.
got that mix of people, that you've got a good scene and stuff. Because we've always had it in BMX. Like you've got the dudes who are sponsored and they're great, but it's as important you've got the dudes who just want to be part of it and cook the barbecue or
Yeah.
You know,
that's another thing I'm saying about the scene. Like the Medway scene is huge. I think like you've got such a good, what I want to say, old school vibe and scene down there. I fished a big lake and I fished Brooklands. Brooklands maybe not so well. No, I'd say there's, again, like Brooklands was probably as well. Like the vibe you got down there, it's like you still got that vibe of like if someone captures a special fish, you're going to text your mate who's over the other side. You're going to text your mate who's at home. You're going to text your mate who's, or ring them or whatever, and everyone's going to come down. People are going to reel in their rods, not even think twice about doing it, even if it's 7 a.m. bite time. They're going to reel in their rods to come and like celebrate your capture, and that's like the old school way, isn't it? Yeah. You don't see that, man, like going on nowadays, no, especially on day tickets. You never see that. If you text your mate like you just bought a £60 ticket at Farlow's, he's fishing the North Bank, you're fishing the South Bank, you just had a fish, he's never going to wind in to come and
100%.
And it like you're losing that a bit in fishing. I think with like the scene,
it's a bit of I think it's a bit of a Kent thing.
Yeah. And it's lovely to see. Like obviously, I see you guys catching the fish that you've caught recently, which we'll get onto, your ones especially. And you got those photos, or we'll put some in.
Yeah.
The photos of you all together, someone holding the fish, and you're all
magical moments,
beers in the hands, everyone's smiling. It's fucking like it's cool to see, and like you need to keep that going in fishing because
it's one of the, so like we'll touch on it as well with the bailiff inside the stuff with the boys that have just taken over Larky.
Yeah.
But it was one thing that I said to them, like when they asked me to do it, as long as I can sort of be me and keep that sort of thing going, then I'll bailiff you. As soon as that starts stopping and things start changing, then I'll pull myself out. But I'm a massive thing like for that. Like I think new members joining hopefully would have said that I kept that sort of
that vibe
going. When I started fishing that complex, you still had the likes of like Nick. Like these boys won't mind me mentioning their name, but Nick Munn, Mark Boyle, Longstay John, like Longstay's in Oz Holness's book.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to fish with these boys.
And
it's all about you have one, you reel in.
Yeah,
really. And then like you might not put the rods back out for another 12 hours. You're on it.
Yeah, that's what it's like down
now the beers are flowing and the barbecue's on, and you are just fully immersed in that whole.
Yeah.
Excitement.
4 hours have gone past. You're celebrating a 27-pounder that someone's just caught, but it's a rare 27-pounder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's lost, and
probably rarer than a 50-pounder in most lakes nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everyone's there celebrating it, and then you know, fuck it. Well, I'm gonna go down Tesco's, grab some barbecue food, and come back to the lake, and you'll celebrate that. I feel like you're building a scene, you're building a community. And keeping that vibe going, I think it's cool.
It's an interesting friend of mine works in marketing and advertising, and he came up with this. He didn't come up with it. Told me this phrase. It says, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And when you've got a culture and a movement, it's like you might have a strategy. Say you own the lake or you're managing it. Like we want to grow our members, or we want to do have this type of vibe. But when you've got a movement and then people just are having fun, and like you said, you think it's 10 minutes and 4 hours have gone past and this and that. It's like people love the culture, don't
people
they?
End up calling back to their bivvies and they don't even get their rods out that night because they've had such a good social with their mates because they've just caught a fish at 10 a.m. in the morning.
My missus takes the absolute piss out of me constantly, right? So I'll leave the lake and I live that close, I barra, right? So I barra to the lake. I barra to Larky, I barra home. I barra to Big Lake, I barra home. So when I'm barring through the country park, like, I'll end up seeing people. And that journey home should be 20 minutes. I'll rock up home like 3 hours late. And she's like, "Oh, what, you've only just reeled in?" And I'm like, "No, I've seen. And she goes, all right." Like,
terrible.
But I had my mate John with me on a social over Christmas. And we reeled in and we was putting our stuff, like he'd come and pick me up. So all our stuff was in his motor. So we're loading the motor. And within 10 minutes, the amount of people that have walked past the motor, now, "Oh, mate boy. Oh, mate boy."
Yeah.
And I went, right, when we get back, because he made a little joke about, right, how many more people are going to walk past? He went and hid and then popped out the bush and went, "All right, mate boy." Like, so we were all laughing about it. And then I said, like, "Look, when we get back, like, you've witnessed it, you've got to go and tell her," because she honestly does not believe me.
I believe it,
she thinks I've just reeled in and
bit late.
yeah.
Oh, you do get it though when you're packing
Push me
up.
luck a little
you're
bit.
packing up. You text your missus when you're literally in your bivvy going, right, I should probably reel in now. Text her, I'll be home in half hour, 45 minutes, which is always an hour and a half.
Yeah.
2 hours longer than you said. And oh, where have you been? You said you're going to be this time or whatever. But you get to the car park, you got other anglers turning up to start their session.
Yeah.
You ain't seen them for a couple of weeks and you end up chin-wagging. And you know what it's like when two carp anglers meet? You end up being there for half hour to an hour talking about it all.
But that country park as well, like where I grew up in that area. So it's not just the anglers. I said, I'll see matey from down the road or one of the boys from the pub, like, I don't know, mate, and they're just walking their dog, walking the dog with their missus and that. So yeah, you're constantly seeing not just anglers, you're seeing all my mates and people that I've met throughout my life, and she just like, yeah, all right, you're talking shit.
I got a theory that's probably like a Kent thing as well, because there's certain parts of the UK that have those tight knit sort of communities.
Yeah,
I'd say you don't get it as much in southeast London. It's quite
it's got a nice feel when you fish in those lakes. I do.
Yeah, I love it.
I do like it.
I love it down there.
Some people might say like clicky, but I feel like if you find it clicky, it's because you're just not letting yourself fit into that community or
100%.
Or thingy. You know what I mean? You're probably holding yourself back a little bit. If you just engage yourself into that vibe, I think you'll see a completely different outcome.
I'd say so. I've got a couple of.
You've got to chuck yourself in sometimes when you join syndicates and just get involved, rather than going, oh, it's a bit clicky. No, maybe try to become a bit of that click. Yeah, you know what I mean. Just like put yourself out there a bit.
Yeah, and a couple of the boys now, like we've got there's a good group of us, and there's a couple of the boys from Alpington, like, and we always used to walk past each other and say like, hello and whatever, and then over the last couple of years, you've been having them, have you?
Yeah,
you reckon? But yeah, like, and then we've become like they become best mates of mine, so they're now involved in it.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love that side of it.
And I do think there are. I'm not going to just say that doesn't exist anywhere else. Like I think Stoneacres is a big one. Stoneacres, you see it a lot. A famous lake or lakes.
Well, it's quite cliche, but it is the old school Yateley vibe. That's it,
the old Yateley vibe. It's just, you got that etiquette for each other.
I would say
respect for each other.
The Larky complex, and I think others would sort of agree with this. Larky complex was our Yateley.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was our Yateley, and then as the years have gone on, you've had all these anglers that have fished, and it's almost like the baton gets passed down. So it's like a revolving every 5 years. Every 5 years, a new set comes in, but you're sort of overlapping with the boys that were previous, and it just sort of gets handed down. And it's sort of like, right, you look after this complex now.
Yeah,
this is on you. This is on you now to look after it. And unfortunately, I mean, I love the boys to bits, but unfortunately, it's changed. It has changed.
Yeah, naturally, and. Places do change depending on who's in charge of it and what happens.
Well, we're a minority now.
Yeah.
Like the boys that do our sort of fishing, we are a minority.
I think so, yeah.
Everyone's catering now for the new angler that's coming in.
We're overstocking lakes, we were talking about earlier, weren't we? Like, you're getting a lot of lakes now. Like, I wouldn't say greedy, but like people are buying lakes or have a lake and they're seeing like Grenville or somewhere like that, and they're like all these what we call super lakes with all these big fish in that are bred from... they're bred to be big fish quick. They're not your old fish. There's no history behind them really. And then they want to aspire to be that. So then they change their lakes to be like what we were saying, like the SWS of like in some of their lakes maybe overstocked them too quickly.
I'd say like without. I mean, I don't want the boys, because the boys are listening to this. I don't want them to think I'm digging them out, but they've got to do what they see's fit. And I've always said that I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I just don't necessarily agree with it. But
for your angling,
for my angling because of what I go for. But yeah, Larky 2, I'd say, is massively overstocked now, and it just goes to show like like that big common. I reckon it would have had another couple of years in it if we touched on it earlier. They took the snags and then restocked it at the same time. I think if you had done one or the other, it might have prolonged it a little bit.
Yeah,
prolonged its lifespan a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
a
big
somewhere
shock,
to chill, somewhere to hide, and it's like it sounds crazy to talk about fish like that, but old fish has been in there for years, and there was how many fish in there at its lowest point? Like
I reckon 40
fish in there. It's a big old lake, and then suddenly they've rammed in a couple of hundred.
They put 100 in,
100 in.
Or is it 80? 80 and then
so
50.
you've just completely flipped like the ecosystem on its head. Really,
Yeah.
And these young fish are coming in, which is great. It's good for the future, and I've got nothing against that.
They're doing what they need to do.
I understand why people have to do it, but I think there's a big thing to say about like just trickling them in, because of these old residents in there that people really fucking want to catch, and like they're the ones, isn't they? You know what I mean? You've got to look after them. You can't just go chucking in all these youngsters, and they almost get bullied out and end up, because they're so old, they get so stressed, they end up dying quick.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it is an interesting little point there. Like it's good to keep them trickling in, because you obviously got to look after the future, but there's a lot to be said about respecting the
I mean,
the elderly.
like I say, I understand why they needed to restock it, because the stock had dwindled, but unfortunately now there's no time in carp fishing. Like all these bods that have come into it, they want instant success. Yeah. They want to get to the end of the year and say, "Oh,
I had 330s or 440s,
50 fish this year, mate."
Yeah.
You go, all right, 53 pounders.
Yeah.
See them, and that's mad. I've seen them in the lake shotgunning C3s.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what is going on? They put their Vass waders on, and they're shotgunning C3s, and you're going, oh mate, what's going on? Like, what's happened?
I know.
Is that social media that's kicked that in? People want
it's got
is
social media.
They want to stick the yellow straps on, I think, and get in the pictures.
So social media would have started that. They want to look the part with that fish, and who's to say they can't do that? But from an old school point of view, who grew up like carp fishing, I don't know. It's hard to. It's hard. It's something I had to see, because you're like
something I had to get my head round, and it ate me up for a while. I admit it. I went through a little stage a few years ago where I was really after baiting, walking away from it, because it really got me, and I just had to sort of take a minute and go, right, who am I to tell you how? Like everyone gets out of fishing what they want from it. So you've just got to switch off from it now, because you can't tell these people they're wrong.
Because they're not.
In the day, you get out of fishing what you want from fishing.
Personal thing, I guess.
It is.
It is very personal, but it's when you've lived and breathed the lake, and you physically have lived right next to the lakes, and you've seen the history, and then it's not getting ruined, because they're like regenerating it, and I see that for the future. But they're like, you're seeing that big change. It's a hard thing to take on, isn't it? It's a hard, and you're seeing these new anglers come in,
it nearly
not abusing it, but new anglers coming in and just they're enjoying it, but
they don't know the history of it.
And they don't. It's almost like they don't respect the history of it.
No.
You know what I mean? They just want to catch, like you say, if they catch 20 stockies in a year out of Railway or Larky,
they're happy.
They're going to be buzzing off their tits.
Yeah, they're happy.
But
I remember one of the first ever fish I see on the bank from Larky 2 was me mate Jake Homewood. He won't mind me mentioning his name, but I love him to bits. Like he's a good boy, Jake, and he rang me up. I was with him one night, and he was fishing in the dugout on Larky 2, and he'd been having them. Like he was doing a bit of baiting, he was having them, and I'd been over on the railway doing a little bit, and the railway was getting a little bit busy. Wayne, who we spoke about earlier, he was having it off on now, and
standard,
and I'm moving over onto Larky 2. So I had my eye over there anyway. I sat with Jake one evening, and I'd left him, got back home, like it was like 10 o'clock. I'd work the next day, get back home, and I'm just falling asleep. And my phone's gone, Jake. So he's ringing me for one reason only. So I've answered the phone. And he was like, Matt, bruv, I've got the iron mark. So I'd heard about this fish. I've never seen a picture of it. There's a lever in Larky 2 called the iron mark lever.
Yeah.
So he's like, mate, you're going to want to see this. Can you come do pictures? So I've got down, and we've got this fish on the map, mate. And it's only it's a mid-20 lever, but it's got the perfect iron print, like that.
Yeah, like
of an old school, the old school steel iron.
Ah, yeah.
Perfect print on it, and it's just a completely different colour to the rest of its body, like a proper burn mark.
I feel like I've seen a photo of this fish.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you because I've done the photos for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mate, it's a mega cut. It's one of the first fish I see on the bank, like Larky 2 fish, and I remember just thinking, God, man, do you know what I mean? Like weight goes out of the question. These are the ones with like the old school.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about that. It's not all about weight. It's like when you've got the history fish and the old fish, and it's the story they've got to tell. You know, they're like sometimes more special than the ones that are the biggest in the
massively.
lake. Like to especially to the old school anglers.
Well, the big uns, like, let's have it right. The big uns always come out more than a couple of times a year. They're big for a reason.
Yeah.
So you're always gonna, like, I know everyone goes on the lakes for the big uns, but a lot of the time people want to just have the big un and then come off the lake, and then they end up missing out on what I would say are some of the best carp around. Some of them, the backup fish, the ones that come out once a year or once every 2 years. And so I've been lucky enough to have my time with a few of them.
Yeah, I was gonna. That brings us on to the next thing. Is like we're going to talk about some of your captures. You know, you've had a special one recently. On the big lake.
The big ghosty. That's one of them big ones that comes out quite a bit.
Yeah, I suppose it does, but it's still a special fish for, like, you know, that lake ain't easy.
I always said, if I caught that carp, I want to be the first one to catch it that year.
Yeah.
I don't want to catch it 3 captures later.
Yeah. Because it is a friendly one.
It is a friendly carp.
But
always does a capture real early on.
It's still a tricky lake, so there's no, you know, you shouldn't poo-poo it. It's a
it's a 50-year-old ghosty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's have it right. It's a proper history fish. It's a Medway Valley historic, famous ghosty.
Big time.
But yeah, I always said if I catch it, I want to be the first one to catch it that year, because it always does an early spring capture. Funnily enough, 2 days before I caught it, I was talking to the boys, and and this is like a recurring theme. They call it the gypsy blood. But I had like we were sat there, and I was like, mate, I've got a feeling my name's on that carp. The big ghosty and white tips. Like, my name's on them. Like, it's going to happen. 2 days later, I end up catching a big ghosty.
Yeah. So I've had this on other lakes where we say you talk them onto the bank.
Yeah,
it's almost like within that 24 hours before you catch it, you're like someone's talking about it. Someone will say, I've got a feeling you're going to catch that. Or you'll be talking about it to someone in your swim, and the next morning you have that fish.
Yeah,
it's just like, what the fuck's that? You're like,
almost
talking onto the bank. And it's strange. It's like a woohoo moment, like a bit of a spooky moment. Yeah, like a universe thing. Like,
I'll tell you, this is another strange thing, and he won't mind me mentioning it. My mate Millsy, his nan passed away a few weeks back, and his dad, old Trev, had fishing on Spider Roll.
Oh yeah.
And he hadn't. I don't think he'd been catching many, but the evening she died, he ended up or it might have been a day later or whatever. He ended up catching. Her name was Lynette. Nah. He ended up catching a linear with the weight, the exact date of her death. Mate, it was.
No, that's freaky.
Mate, it was strange.
That is freaky.
It was strange. No, so obviously he sent it in to Millsy like, fucking hell, how can you can't.
You can't write that. What are the chances?
That's that crazy. Weight of her date.
Big up Millsy and Trev, by the way.
Yeah, shout out.
That is wild.
Yeah, fucking hell.
It's savage, isn't it? Like it's magic. Fishing can be magical.
Yeah, I see that. And is it? You got Adam Pennin and Joe Morgan.
Yeah,
they're quite believers in, like, I don't know what you call it, but like the believing in the universe.
Is it manifestation?
Is that what they call it? They thank the universe a lot, and they all think it's like. And I'm not poo-pooing it. I think it's I wouldn't say their own, but like I think there's something in that, like that.
Some people talk about carp gods and all that, Alex, but I'm a big believer in karma, fate. That sort of
and when your name's on it, it's on it.
Good karma and fate. And a big slice of luck.
Yeah,
which is the best part about it. I was
going to say, what do you think about visualization?
Yeah.
So like Olympic
it's the confidence
athletes,
you're
they
sort of talking it.
See themselves like running the 100 meters or winning the 100 meters. You speak to any
in some
top
of these
athletes,
lakes, you've got to visualize it.
Doing it,
because you've got to visualize it, and we'll come on. Talking through captures, we'll come onto the ocean for a bit, but you have to visualise it on that lake. And we'll touch on that lake in a bit. But when I fished that lake, it was, it's a savage old pit.
Yeah. Well, I think all of them around the Larky, Medway Valley area.
But even Nick Kelly, he talks about it, doesn't he? Like luck, big slice of luck. When people try and give themselves too much credit. Watercraft's a massive thing. Yeah. You need to be able to know what you're doing. But
I think Jim Shelley talks about it as well as like percentages.
Yeah.
Carp fishing is all percentages.
What's that mean?
So basically, he'll sharpen his hook to the finest point because every percent he's putting onto that hook is a percent into catching a carp. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. So he's trying to get the weight in his favour.
All the percentages into his favour. What can I do to? Because it is luck. You have no control over that fish taking your hook bait, but you've got to put all the percentages in your favour. So I think there's a lot to be spoken about that.
Like, even casting, like how many people cast out and go, oh, that'll do.
That'll do. Yeah.
I would rather it take me 20, 25 casts.
Don't get me wrong, I've been there when you're just like, sometimes you have those nightmare sessions and you're just like, that will do because I'm going to fucking snap my rod in a minute.
You're not catching a big one.
And then you end up, and you're just like, you're sleeping at night thinking,
that ain't happening. That
ain't happening. But then sometimes you
just rolls off.
Oh, it just doesn't happen. And you think, I should have just calmed down, had a cup of tea, taken a minute out, go see a friend or something down the bank, come back and then get the rod out again. Because we've all been there when you're like, fuck, especially when you're fishing into a little hole in weed or something and you just can't get that rod, or you got a crosswind that comes in. Yeah. We've all been there.
That's one thing I do. One thing I always do, I never rush it.
Yeah.
If it means I'll get my rods out in the dark, I'll get my rods out in the dark. I won't rush it. I'll get down. There's always that swim anxiety, isn't there? When you're getting down, you sort of know.
Yeah.
If you walk the lakes as often as you need to, you know what areas you need to be in. And I always think, right, there's 3 or 4 zones I need to be in. Get into one of them zones, and then it's just like, right.
Yeah, chill.
Go for a walk.
That's a good thing to do, actually.
Go for a walk. Because some people set up then, really heightened, and everything just starts going wrong. Start having crack offs.
You're rushing.
Hooks in the fucking thumb and stuff like that. But
something to be said about mindset, I guess, isn't there?
Yeah, just chill
and enjoying it.
Yeah, just chill, man. Put
you do have that buzz on, don't you? You're buzzing about going fishing in the first place.
The first thing I do,
been for a while.
It'd be a dinger now. Might put the music on and then that's it. Like, and I just sort of chill.
It is good to just. I like to get the camp set.
Set everything up.
Especially if I'm not always, but if I'm set on the swim.
Set
my camp up, and it's all everything. I'm
100%.
very particular. I've got everything's got its place. So I set my camp up, so it's all familiar. So I don't even have to look. Sometimes I know, go down there. I've got a certain bag, or I know where everything is. And then I think about let's have a feel about, or let's get this mark.
Funny enough, that big ghosty, it was I'd booked on for a week, and I fished the Sunday night, and I was in. You know it 12 on the towpath. So
we all know 12 on the towpath.
Fishing on 12.
Funny yarn from Luke.
Well, I reckon Luke was involved in that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I reckon it was Luke and Nick Howard.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah, remember the story? The old towpath.
That towpath's got
some stories.
Yeah, it's got some stories, that towpath. But yeah, I was in 12. Funnily enough, them 2 wasn't in my swim. But
are you sure? You sure you weren't the guy that
I can't remember. I'd had a few Erdingers, so I can't remember. I might have been involved in it. Us scaffolders, mate.
Yeah, you can't be trusted, mate.
Prison rules, scaffolders. But yeah, no, I'd set up and got the rods out, and I was fishing over the back of the plateau. Mm-hmm. And they had been out there. They had been using that area for a couple of weeks. So I knew that I needed to sort of be in 12 or Big Willows. Now, I was in 12, mate Char was in Big Willows. So we're talking back and forth. And that morning, it was very dead. It was a dead morning. Like I say, I'd booked on for the week. I'd done the Sunday, and I was due to go home on the Monday to get my boy. It was half term. Mm-hmm. So I was going home to get my eldest to come back with me. So sort of had it in my mind that I was going to reel in at lunchtime anyway to go and get him. So I thought, right, I've got an opportunity here that if I need to move, I'm going to move before I go and pick my boy up. So I've looked out and they're showing on the end of the island, sort of in Gap's water. But at the time, someone was in Gap and they were just packing up, and I was like, yeah. Or he was looking in Gap. Sorry, he wasn't set up in there. He was looking in there, and I was thinking, you know what it's like if you pack up on the towpath, you could get round there and he could be in there by the time you get round there. Easy, luckily enough, he walked off. There was a fella in tailgate, and they were sort of showing on that that tree behind tailgate. You know the one I'm
man's
talking
land.
about, yeah.
It's like what they call it in the
Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle. There's a triangle in the fucking lake.
You just can't get
just
to
can't
them.
reach a
And
rod
they'd
to.
be like,
Oh, really?
And the carp know they're safe every morning. Boom, boom, boom.
They know.
Almost waving at you. Hello.
Arsehole,
We're
mate.
here.
You can sit there for 2 days. Just
Anyone
staring
who
at 'em.
fishes the lake will know Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. So I've gone, right, I'm moving round into Gat. So I've come flying past Charlie and he's like, are you moving into Gat? I went, yeah. He went, yeah, fair play. By this point, I'd say it's now sort of lunchtime and I'll set everything up and went home, grabbed Jack, got back down. Speaking to Charlie, like set Jack up, he's watching the iPad and that. So the camp set, my rods weren't out, camp set, and I just thought, I am just going to chill. Charlie's rods are out, he weren't leaving the lake till 4.
Fish ain't going nowhere.
Fish ain't going anywhere, he's next door. I'm not going to cast out. This is the Etiquette side of it. I know I know it's next door, but still, they're quite far apart. But I thought, no, I ain't casting. His rods are out there. I'm going to leave them. I'll put my rigs out for. I know where I'm casting to. Stood there with Charlie just having a beer and that. Thought, right, I'll walk back up and check on Jack. Checked on Jack. All right, boy, how you doing? Like, we're having a little chat. He's telling me about what he's watching, and then all of a sudden, I look round and I'm like, what? Like literally 30 yards out. I'm like, fucking hell.
In front of the bar.
And but at this point, I didn't know there was a bar there because where I've done my year last year, everyone's cast into certain areas. You've got the map.
Yeah.
And where I get on the carp, and we touched on this earlier, you throw leads at the big lake carp and they just go, don't they? So I made a point of not really foaming the water up too much last year. I knew where I needed to be at certain times.
You've got to think like 2 steps ahead of them, haven't you, in that lake? Definitely.
So I'm like, looking at it, and Jack's gone, Dad, is that a carp? Oh, I think so. And then we're sort of both looking at the water, and then this head just comes out. And I'm like, gosh. Right, start setting, like, putting baits on my rigs and that.
Now the anxiety's going.
Yeah, now I'm like, fucking hell. Like, it's
shaking.
gone from camp, and I've shouted down to Charlie, like, sorry, mate, I know I was going to wait till 4, but fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I'm like, right, sweet, I've cast out, over, trapped it, bang, and as it's going down, like, I was like, oh, that's shallow. Now I'm like, fucking hell, I've never really cast about in here, and now there's, like, and I'm on a bar now, and how many times have I come in this swim, fished to the corner of the island, and now I'm fishing past it.
Which is always hit and miss, I think, that gap's
It is,
like,
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, it sees a lot of pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, it's such a blatant spot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it sees a lot of pressure.
You get lucky or you don't on there, I think.
Yeah, then
Mad.
Rod was out sort of 10 minutes. Mick's come past me. Good old Mick. He's come past me and he's like, oh, I'm going to walk up into 36 and see if there's some fish moving up on the wind, because the wind had swung and they were sort of, what I could tell is they sort of got on that.
Yeah, they do like a new wind on there.
So the move paid off. Charlie's come up because we've seen another one and he's going, mate, that's going to go. By the time he literally walked out, we had like a little chat. He's walked out and I've had this big drop back. Boom. Grabbed my rod on the right. The rod's on the right hand side of the swim. I've run to the left hand side and it's kiting, and it's just like real heavy and slow. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, what's this? Now my boy's out the bivvy and he's running around going, oh, Dad, what we got? And I'm like, shut up. Like, it ain't in the net yet.
Chill out.
Just don't jinx it.
No.
Head's popped up straight away. Like Mick's at the front of the swim with the net. Head's popped up and it's unmistakable. Big ghosty.
Big ghosty.
I've gone to shit because it's like, oh, mate, that's a...
You know it's a lump.
Yeah, it's a mid-40.
Yeah, easily.
So you're like... So I've gone, Mick, that's a big ghosty, innit? And he's just turned round, as calm as you like, just turned round and went, yeah, boy, just keep walking back. And I needed that at that moment. I was like, yeah, sweet.
Yeah, just...
Boom, in the net. And, yeah, me and Mick were talking about it. We was saying, what do you reckon? And he's like, 45, 46. It weren't until we got it on the mat and unzipped it, and it was like, cool. All three of us looking at it like...
And a lot, I was just going to say, like, not a lot of people like ghosties. We call them, like, oriental
yeah,
fish. Yeah,
ornamentals, yeah.
Ornamentals, I mean. So a lot of carp anglers aren't into them. I don't mind them too much, like, especially, like, big old, like we was talking earlier, like, big, old, historical ones. Like, I don't mind a big ghosty.
I wouldn't go...
a few in the glebe that I caught and I absolutely love.
I wouldn't go and target them, but in the valley, There's a family of them in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
There's one in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then you've got the two in Big Lake, the ghosty Lynn and the big ghosty. And they've earned their right. They're historic. They've been in there for...
Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't go to a lake to go catch ghosties, but
if they come
we
along...
call them ghost carp then because they're fucking in the water. They look like ghost carp. They're almost like, you
really
know...
pale.
Yeah,
almost
pale.
transparent.
White, pale, and they're almost like koi.
Right.
But obviously as carp hangers we like the normal mirror, like king carp, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, they've earned their place. They've been in there. They've been in there as long as the others, if not longer. And that one you caught, the big ghosty, what a fish! Like such a special fish. When you look at its mouth, its head, its shape, the colours go through it as well.
Oh, mate, it's an impressive fish for something that comes out 4-5 times a year. Its mouth was immaculate. Like I was blown away by it. Just the
it's quite an overslung mouth as well.
Yeah, real overslung.
Yeah,
real slopey head, long but deep. Like it's got the length and it's got the depth.
I've definitely seen it in the water, sitting in the weed behind the islands.
It's a mad old carp, man. It's a mad old carp, and then just to lift it up, and it go like zeroed the sling and turned the scales round, and we've got it up on the bar, and Charlie and Mick are looking at it, and they're going 48, and I'm going, you, yeah.
You're having a laugh.
You're having a cup.
Crack a beer.
Yeah, 48.6. I was like, what? That was it then. Beers
Head's
out.
Gone.
Yeah, beers out. All the boys dropped beers. Me and Mick just sat there. You know what Mick's like? Loves a beer.
Yeah.
Big up, Mick. Drunk me out that night.
No, it's good. I remember getting a text, mate. I got the message. I was sitting at home on the sofa. Got a message.
Yeah, I
from
messaged
you.
you. Yeah,
got a message. So, well, I think you just sent the photo, and I was like, "Fuck,
get up."
Yeah, it's
get
cool.
up, mate." It's like you can't beat it. Like I haven't been fishing much this year because of the kids. Obviously, young family and that. But when you get a message from a mate like that, and you're just like, you always get that little buzz for them. You're like, you know how special that carp is. And
sort
of
like, missed each other a little bit as well, haven't we? Because I've been saying about you coming down and having a coffee and that. And
just
talking about Big Lake and stuff. So I was like, yeah, man. You know, when you're just sitting there buzzing, you're like,
yeah. Who else can I message?
Yeah, who can I message? Who can I message who knows what that carp's about?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I appreciate it because obviously I sat on the sofa and I was like, fuck yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's sick.
And that's really nice that there's that culture that you can appreciate as much from everyone else. It's not so singular.
Yeah, and it's not like some people like would be like, oh fucking hell, he's caught it, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's none of that with the old school.
Yeah, you're just buzzing, like.
With the old school sort of anglers, you're as happy as for them as it would be for you. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
That's a big part of my fishing is I massively get off on the fact of all the boys doing well, and it keeps me going.
Yeah, 100%.
It keeps me going, like because at certain points, like I have real intense periods. So I'll have like an intense 3 months, and then I'll sort of drop off a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone does that.
Like the ADHD, like riddled with it, and I'll just go through these spells where I'm like 200 mile an hour into that, and then once you have a little bit of a result, then it's like, oh, I need a minute.
Sometimes it is good to just take a back set.
Do you think quick question, do you think it'd feel as good catching that big ghosty if you're on your own? Is it the community and then like your mates are buzzing for you that makes that
I'd have been buzzing, but I wouldn't have been. Like,
it's not quite as
the thing that done
that's what makes it so special. Your mates come around and
the one thing that done it for me with that capture. So my little boy Jack, he is. I've been a big believer in letting him find his own way because, like, my dad, he won't mind me saying, but he lived a lot of his youth through my brothers, like through like boxing and all that. Like my brothers were really good at boxing, especially my brother George. So dad always pushed onto them what he wanted them to do.
Okay, yeah.
So I thought, right, I'm not going to do that with my boys.
Yeah.
Right, it's a life lesson, isn't it? Even though it weren't me doing it, I learned off my dad. So
yeah.
Let him find his own way. And over the last couple of years, he's really got into it. He sees the signs. He talks about the carp, and he knows what he's looking for. And then when that carp went in the net, and he's walked to the front of the swim. Like, he's only 7, but because he's in front of the boys now, he's walked to the front of the swim, and he went, "Fucking hell!" And I've got Jack. He went, "It's massive." Oh, yes, boy.
Yeah, it's quality though, but he understands
good.
it and appreciates. Like, and there's no taking back. Like when you first see a carp like that big, it's fucking knocks
yeah,
you
mate.
back, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
It's
he was like, what? And anyone that come in to swim, like after, he was like, you want to see the size of it?
Yeah.
I gave him a little
His daddy's done that.
Little Corona shandy. I gave him.
Yeah, nice.
He had a hangover in the morning. Was sick.
No, he didn't. Oh, mate, when I was young, mate, he never got hangovers. They only kicked in when I was 26.
Yeah, bless him. No, he had a couple of Corona shandies. He was buzzing, mate. Sat there with his little Chelsea cup.
Oh, bless him.
Little Corona
Chelsea
shandy.
boy.
Chelsea boy, yeah. Big up Chelsea. Up Chelsea.
Up the Blues.
Up Chelsea. But yeah, no, that was 100%. If I didn't have them boys with me, it wouldn't have been. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as
special,
good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been
it
as special.
definitely makes the moment more special, doesn't it? It's celebrating it with mates.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously you'll purchase products from shops and stuff on your own, and you'll sort of like watch YouTube videos potentially on your own, this and that. But when you're actually on the bank, I guess it's about the community, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, not on all lakes. This is what we're trying to say.
Oh,
I
really?
think. Not on all lakes. Like.
I don't think I'd be able to fish a lake that weren't like it.
No, I don't. That's what another thing. Yeah, I don't think you would because you've had it so good.
I wouldn't be able to
You'll
go.
probably find yourself a bit lost. I think halfway through a year of joining a lake that wasn't as like a good community, like as Larky and everywhere and Medway Valley, I think like you would feel a bit lost. You'd probably feel a bit like, where do I fit in? Like this ain't for me. Like, and you probably want to just run away from it.
Because it's not even so much the social; it's just having a good group of boys on a lake.
Yeah.
Because you can just turn up, walk round, and you know, sort of 80% of who's fishing. So you go and set up and then just go for a walk and have a beer, and go back to your swim, get your stuff out, and then you know that if they need you, they're going to call you. If you need them, you can call them. I don't think I'd be able to fish a lake where that was sort of non-existent. And we're lucky down in the Medway Valley, like most of the lakes are like that.
They are, yeah.
Most of them are like that. But it also is the boys.
It's important to try and keep it like that.
Boys create the atmosphere.
Yeah, the group of lads, and obviously that generation. You see that in any sport. I think the generation changes, which means the scene changes, and then the vibe changes, doesn't it? Like around a certain sport. So certain lakes will change over the years.
Yeah, they all do cycles.
Some
they
good,
do
some
cycles.
for bad. Like you just don't know. You might get a group of people in that ain't so friendly, and you get a bit of a clique. Like you get those clicky lakes where there'll be 3 or 4 people that are real tight, and then all the others they're kind of just like fob off or push aside. Which I don't think is fair. I think it's all about just helping each other out and creating a community. And I think like everyone benefits from that in the long run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a big thing. Like being happy for others.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah,
like it's good karma. It is good karma. And there's too many people. Like there's people that are coming into it that are sort of reading the situation wrong, and they think that by being quite bolshy and talking about how many they've had and whatever sort of get some respect, and it's not that
it's
at
the
all.
opposite, I think.
And they're sort of sheeping people up.
Yeah.
Quite ruthless about it, and then when they're getting sort of bad press, they're sort of going, oh well, they don't like me because I've caught so many. No, it's not.
It's not that.
It's not
because
that.
you're a bellend.
Yeah, it's not that. It is.
You know what I mean?
You're fucking right. There's no other way of saying it.
Yeah, it's because you're being a bellend, mate. You know what I mean? You're not being friendly. You're not being
absolute
humble.
helmet.
You're not being nice. Yeah.
Prat, as Baz would say. A prat. What a word.
Yeah,
prat.
it's just Be nice, be friendly.
100%.
And enjoy the sport and fucking
like, I'll be
happy for other people.
I'll be happy for anyone. As long as you conduct yourself in the right way, I will reel in and I will come and help you if you need help. But if you're going to start sheeping people up and you're going to sort of rub people up the wrong way and start bragging and this, that and the other, and then you think the reason why people don't want to engage with you is because you're catching so many. It's not, mate. It's just a tit.
Yeah.
Just a tit.
And now we've cleared that point up.
Yeah, now we've cleared that point up. Fucking hell. But yeah, it is a good point, though.
It is a good point, isn't it? I think
so.
It needs to be said, I think.
I think you'll get that in a lot of sports or like a lot of cultures anyway.
Yeah.
There's always those
because
posers
you're
who
right.
come in.
People do go. They play the victim, don't they? Go, oh, people don't like me, or people get weird because I'm catching so many. It's nothing to do with that, mate.
Yeah, it's not.
So how you handle yourself, I think.
the blue tick brigade as well. We shout them out. Like, why are people buying blue ticks on Instagram? What's all that about?
Quality, innit?
Fucking 300 followers and you verify yourself.
I did get tempted one night.
What's all that about?
After a few sherbets, I did get tempted one night.
I'm famous now.
Yeah, oh look, I'm famous. Blue tick.
As soon as they introduced that and you could start buying it, like all of a sudden people are buying followers and fucking.
No, but it's like buying love, isn't it? It's like buying.
Yeah,
it's like buying success. It's like buying. Mate,
there's a couple of people that was on my Instagram that I followed and. Just normal, and then all of a sudden they blue tick themselves and buy a load of followers, like a load of Chinese people follow them, and they're up at like 20,000 followers.
Yeah, it happens overnight.
What's all that about?
Yeah, you got to earn it from the bottom up.
Status game. That's what people want.
It's to try and get sponsored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's got to be, innit?
Yeah.
It's an image thing, innit?
Yeah,
because if it looks like you've got 20,000 followers, like,
doing it for the
wrong reasons, deal's going to come my way. But
yeah, because followers obviously talks, doesn't it? But then obviously it doesn't if you do stuff like that, because the right people will notice that. They'll see that a mile away, you know.
Big up the Blue Tick Brigade.
Blue Tick Brigade.
I'm going to verify myself after this. The famous Matty Hennon from Medway Valley.
Yeah, fucking you are famous.
It's terrible, isn't it? Terrible behaviour.
Bit of a random question, just sort of on the a little bit sideways here. But is there much money in owning a lake?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Oh no, you guys don't own lakes.
I would say
yes.
Yeah.
I won't touch on it too much, but I think so.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot of money.
And is there more lakes,
especially the right
up?
complex?
Yeah.
Is there more places popping up in the last 10 years?
It's becoming such a thing.
It's a crowded market now, isn't it?
I'd say. I wouldn't say. I don't know if people building new lakes really are they? You got like obviously Norton Disney, like Corder have been buying lakes, and everyone's been buying these lakes that are old quarries and stuff. Never been fisheries, but now becoming fisheries, which is great for the sport, I think. But I think there's definitely a lot of money to be making it because of how big fishing and how big.
If you've got a club water or a syndicate now, you're laughing.
Yeah.
Because the waiting lists
are huge, aren't they? Like one of the club waters I'm on, a friend actually just messaged me a couple of days ago saying, "Can I put your name down because you need like a reference?"
Oh yeah.
I said, "Yeah, crack on, mate. Like happy days." Like I said, "Where's that for?" He said, "D-Dabs," and I was like, "Oh." He was like, "Oh yeah, I hope the waiting list is not too long." I was like, "Mate, it's like a 10-year plus waiting list. I think they've actually closed the waiting list now because it's that big.
That's
like,
ridiculous.
You ain't getting on unless it's 10 years. People don't drop their tickets on those sort of waters, you know."
And I do think as well, I don't think waiting lists are waiting lists anymore. Like it might be a 10-year waiting list, but you're not getting on that unless you know someone. They've all become. They're not going to publicise it. But all these waiting lists have become...
A lot of places have two
who you know.
Lists.
It's become who you know.
They have a friend's waiting list and then they have a waiting list.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I sort of half been involved in a little bit of it. So
shout out and respect to some of them because some of them have put their waiting list online.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it Norton Disney and stuff that I think you can join some of their syndicates and it's actually online. You can see your name.
And then when
every year you can
off,
see. So it's 100% fair. So shout out to that. I think that's a fair way of doing it. I think even Grenville, I think once you've paid put your deposit down, your name's on a list and you can watch your name go up the list. So there's no jumping. Yeah. And they're quite strict to that.
I would say though, if I had a lake, then it would just be who I wanted on that lake. Yeah. Only because of what I've seen firsthand. Like bailiffing for the boys sort of opened up my eyes to seeing how ridiculous some people can be.
Yeah.
And because
do you think that's like uneducated, inexperienced, or is that just people just?
It's a mix. It's a mix. There's the uneducated. There's the day ticket Joeys that come over. Joey. And then there's just people outright taking the piss, just being stupid.
Yeah. But sometimes you explain it to some. I've been in situations where you've like, you might want to change that, and then you explain why. Like friends of friends, I've been on like socials with, and then like I'm like, oh, I'll make a joke, like I wouldn't cast that out, and they're like, oh, why is that? And then I'll be like, show them why, because it's, and then like, oh, okay, it's like a light bulb situation. And then as soon as you explain it to them, they're like, oh fuck, I see that now. Yeah. Like, thanks for letting me know. Like that's the uneducated, I suppose. Like,
but you can sort of gauge them people when you walk round. You can gauge the people that haven't been educated properly and do want to learn. So you're in a position where you can educate, but then there's people that just do ridiculous stuff, and you're just like, why?
You got any good examples?
Yeah.
leaders
not
on
calling anyone out or anything.
leaders onto leaders, like fucking main line down to a shock leader, then down to leg core.
That's a big one.
There's a few people doing that, and you're just like, why? What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't like knots. I don't like any weakness in my line. So if I can minimise that, the better in my eyes. So if you've created 3 or 4 points where that line can snap now because you've just tied to tight.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Pushing the limits with baiting spoons, like straight into snags, dropping them down, and like feeding the fish in the snags.
Yeah.
And then baiting, like putting your baits in there. Sorry, feeding them in there and then putting your baits in there.
Yeah, it's like
what are you doing?
Mm.
Like the rules come up in the summer.
Up to it. Bobbins on the floor.
Yeah. Rules come up in the summer. Like obviously, like the oxygen levels are lower, and the rules have come up like no retaining fish. And then there's people like putting up on their stories, and they've got like on the railway 4, 5 retainers lent up against each other, all side by side, all stockies. Like, what are you doing?
Gunshot.
Like, yeah. What are you fucking free bounder? What is all that about?
I've got a question for you. That was a bit of a, I think so, touchy one. It's being a bailiff, but like places like Medway have that rule of no shock leaders. Yeah. For fit, but a lot of their waters are distance waters. So I think there's a big argument there, like, or debate with, like, do you allow shock leaders on your water and make sure everyone can tie a good knot before they join, so that the fish are safe to allow? So you instead of, because it's hard to explain, but you're creating a point where
you're creating a point where people are going to have crack-offs
because they want to fish as far as they can, and you're not allowing shock leaders or anything like that. And a lot of the lakes have zebra mussels and bars in, so that shock leader will also work against getting cut off. Yeah. So instead of actually like making a rule against no shock leaders, why don't they just bring in shock leaders, test people, make sure that they're all, or not test people? I don't know. It's hard to manage, isn't it? But
what I will say,
why not like try to make the situation not happen in the first place? You know what I mean?
The boys have changed. So SWS changed their rules. We all sat round and we were putting little bits and pieces in, and Larky was never allowed to use braid. You was never allowed to use like leaders, and mate, them pits are savage. They are savage pits. Yeah. So the boys allowed braid, they allowed leaders, and you don't get no problems really until you have the odd one that wants to take the piss. But a lot of people are buying pre-tied leaders now. It's just putting leaders on leaders. Like you'll have people just making it too complicated. Like what I spoke on a minute ago.
Unnecessarily.
Yeah, but since the boys have changed that, there's not been any problems in particular with leaders.
That's always baffled me. Like you're banning shock leaders. Like Mercer's did it, I think, years ago. Like Medway valleys, like Brooklands, Big Lake, all that, and they're all distance waters. So you're just forcing someone to fish with thin line, or the minimum line they can fish with, straight through to the lead, and they're pushing the boundaries with that, which is just, they're getting crack-offs left, right and centre because they're pushing the boundaries. Why not just allow them to have the shock leader, which is what it says in the tin?
Regardless
you know what
of
I mean?
The rules, regardless of the rules, you're always going to have people take the piss with whatever set of rules that are on.
Yeah. Because there are fisheries now that just put in those rules saying you have to have a shock leader. Yeah. Yeah, you have to fish this way. You have to fish with this much leg core because we've got savage bars and places where you can get cut off. You have to have that to stop the situation happening at all, rather than going the opposite way and saying you can't have it because we don't trust your knot strength or the way you tie your rigs or when, you know what I mean? So it's like you're going
to have problems either way. Whatever rules you put out there, you're always going to have problems but you don't see it when like just being a member. You don't see that sort of stuff. Say I've seen silly things, and it's not everyone, it's just the minority. But what I will say is when the boys changed them rules, more fish were landed. The special one I caught in the ocean, I was lucky enough to have my time with a few on the ocean, but the fish broke back linear out there, and I wouldn't have landed that.
Mad lake. I was going to put it out there, like
it's a savage lake, and
it's called the ocean because it is like inland.
It's an inland sea,
massive, yeah.
But it's
a bit unknown.
Full of Canadian, full of zebras, and I would have never landed that carp if I didn't have a leader on.
There you go, yeah.
The leader was shredded, and I broke the rules and put leg core on. I'm just going to put it out there. Sorry, boys.
Fair play, being honest.
Yeah. No, they know now anyway. And I was
safe,
using nuts as well.
At least you landed it. Everything was safe.
On a single nut.
But that's what's going back to the people that are making those decisions to put those rules in place. So it's not going to happen on my lake. I'm not going to have crack-offs. I'm not going to have cut-offs. It's going to be safe.
Mate, I'd never...
I do feel like there's distance waters that don't allow you to fish distance style. That's what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like contradicts itself in my eyes.
But yeah, and Big Lake is one of them.
Yeah.
But what I'd done, so touch wood, I haven't had any crack-offs. But what I did do last year, I changed my main line 4 times. Because of the stretch.
Oh yeah, the stretch.
The amount you're casting out.
Yeah, the pressure you're putting on.
I was using 18-pound line.
And obviously like the nicks you get in it without even knowing as well.
I checked that. So when I was in them longer swims, religiously, like I've wrapped up and I'm checking my line as it's going back onto my spool. One little dink and it's off, and then wrap back up. Right, we're out. But I changed my main line 4 times. So I took it off and changed it 4 times last year. 18-pound line, like 1.5 foot of tubing, stepped everything up, like 13-foot rods. Stepped everything up to be able to fish with that.
You got to, yeah. I think a lake's rules have got to allow you to do that, to fish safely.
But a lot of people are cracking off because they can't hit them distances. They're stepping down to 12-pound line.
That's when you're pushing it to the
and
limit.
They're using that much tubing.
Yeah.
Tiny little size 8 hooks and little 12 millers, aren't
they? Yeah. But again, the rules are making you letting people fish that way. I think there's a lot to be said about it, but it's good to see that some lakes are changing. Yeah, and other lakes are just going to
props. The boys have got. I will say that their rules are as good as you're going to get. You can use braid. I get that. Like,
both ways, it doesn't really work. Like there's always the people that are maybe like inexperienced or just take the piss anyway.
Yeah, you're going to get it. You're going to get it everywhere.
No matter what rules you have, you're going to get rule breakers or people like bending the boundaries. But I just think it's a bit of a funny one, that one.
Yeah, you're going to get it everywhere. You're going to. It's, like I say, some of the things I've seen through bailiffing is just like it blow your mind, but. Yeah, you're going to get them everywhere.
Yeah,
but I never really wanted to do it because there's that sort of misconception of bailiffs, like they're arseholes, isn't they? So I always I just wanted to be one of the boys, and and I sort of done it in a different way. I was one.
You're
of
not
the boys.
a bailiff now, though.
No, I don't do it anymore. No, I don't do it anymore. It's changed too much, mate. I'm not. I mean, even though I was the bailiff, I'm one of them ones. If someone's someone's not eating the clip on the other side of the lake, I go, "Go home, Joey." And everyone's like, "Oh, fucking hell, Matt's here.
See you later."
And I used to wait until it was dark. Like one of my things was like new members every year. So April, all the new members start, and I'll wait until it's dark, and I'm gonna walk round with one of my mates or whatever, and we'd sort of get behind certain swims and start fucking shouting and hollering and. Boy! And then people start zipping up and you never see them again. One of my hiding distance sticks love doing that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, or move them. Like people have set them out 12 foot, haven't they?
Yeah, you put it 6.
Yeah, I start moving
or
them.
9.
You're fucking 20.
To be fair, you only have to put it like 6 inches and it makes a big difference after 20 wraps.
Yeah, I love doing that. Sorry, boys.
Oh, you're so funny. That is jokes. Proper. What? Yeah. What's your best blag then? Or best prank? To mates or someone on the bank?
God, I don't know. That's put me on the spot now. I might have to come back to that one.
Have a think about it while we do some voice notes.
There's so much has happened. Yeah, I mean, you probably have. Yeah, you probably have stuff come back.
Voice notes on that note then, yeah? Give you something to think about over the time. Remember as well the free giveaway.
Yeah.
Over these notes, but...
Here we go.
Are you ready?
Evening, gentlemen. And Matt. Well, Matty Hennon's podcast, eh? What a buzz. How exciting is this, eh? I thought long and hard what I should say. And this is take 2 of my voice notes as well. I've sent one in and it was shit, so we're going again.
Oh, dear.
I thought long and hard of what I should say. I was telling an embarrassing story or just I weren't too sure. So I thought I'd just say a few things about him. A couple of things he's known for. Shouting is number one. He's massively known for shouting. He loves a holler. And if you fished anywhere in that valley, especially like the Larkfield complex, you definitely would have heard his voice. When you set up on the centre path of Larky 2 or the railway and you can hear him hollering after he's come round and had a few beverages for 3 or 4 hours and he's wandered back and he's down at the ocean shouting at the top of his lungs and you can hear him loud and clear. I'd love to know what the actual distance is, but yeah, serious set of pipes on the man. The man is known for a serious amount of barrow work. Not just because he likes to move, but because he doesn't drive, he obviously has to barrow to the lake, which he's recently bought an electric barrow because he's a bit of a minge now.
Big up the electric
I think
barrow.
he racked up the numbers of about 2,000 miles in 2 years. I could be completely wrong with that number, but I'm sure it was something like that. That's a serious number. Yeah. Serious amount of barrowing that man likes to do. I said he should get a set of Heelys and just will with it now. He's got the electric one. He's a good guy. He is a good man. No man has ever held my penis in their hand on more than one occasion as gently as he does. It's a story you're going to have to tell now.
Yeah, you have to tell us that story. What's that about?
But yeah, no, he likes to pull the group together. He likes to
it's a big Hampton, I'd say.
Which is good. He likes to be the organiser. He likes to put the right people with the right people and keep everyone together, which is good because a lot of people have drifted away now. So he's good at that. He's a bit of a prat at the same time, though, to be fair. So I know he likes it when I call him a prat. But no, all the best, Matty. Lots of love. Baz out.
Nice.
So we've got to touch on the cock now, haven't we?
Yeah, what's that about?
So
shout out to Buzz as well. Like he sent me a voice note and he was
legend.
like, Can I? Sorry to be a pain. Can I change that? I think the first one's a bit shit. I was like, mate, I haven't even listened to it. Like, I'll just replace it. Yeah, sweet. And
he's obviously got pranged out. Like, he's listened to one of the other boys.
Maybe there's a bit of pressure on now, so it's not easy doing a voice note. I understand that, but yeah, mate, fucking what a legend.
Yeah, he's a good old boy, Baz. Last year, one of our pals, Kyle, was in the bridge on the railway, and me, Baz. So there's me, Baz, Kyle, Joshy Basden and Ryan Wickens from Specialised Angling. We're all sat there having a bit of a social and that. And Baz is known for getting his cock out. Like that's Baz's thing. He's just one of them, mate. I said it earlier. I've got more.
Every group of blokes now will be going.
There's always that. There's always one, right? And he does weird things. Like, I'll show you a picture, and we can't put it on here, but he's like in the bath, and he's managed to get his. He's got a big old Hampton on him. I'll give him that.
That's why he gets it out. He's managed to get his cock
in his heels, like, and he's sort of, mate. It's a weird old picture. I don't know how he managed it. We've all tried it, but
all tried.
Yeah, all tried after that. Failed, but yeah, going back to it, something got said, and Bazzy's got his cock out. Now, Bry sort of looked like, oh fucking hell, what's going on here? He's got his Hampton out, and there was like a state of shock on Rye's face. So I'd had a couple of bit. I just grabbed hold of it, and I've gone, right, what's up with you? And he's like, now he's like even more shocked. Then I've cupped his balls from the other end. It's only a cock. So now there's that saying, like, it's only a cock.
Oh mate, it's only a cock.
Big up Baz's cock.
We have to make a T-shirt. United Anglers, there's only a cock.
Wank Baz off in the bridge on the railway. Whether that makes me buy or not.
Well, no, I don't think it does because you're open to it, you know?
Yeah, good old Baz.
Fucking hell, what a legend.
Right, number 2, see if there's any more cock stories.
Boys, I've got a question for you. Ooh. What are your most important fishing etiquette considerations for carp fishing today?
That's a good one, isn't it?
Etiquette.
There's a lot to be said there.
You're going to answer this as well, mate.
Yeah, you've got to answer it. We've both got to answer this one.
You go first, mate.
I'd say being aware of who's around you is something I'd say. Like,
okay, why is that?
Just having the sort of know-how, like, because a lot of people on that lake, like the lakes that we fish, you're putting a bit of time and effort into them, and the person next door might have been putting in a bit of graft. Now, if there's one person on the lake and the rest of the lake is free, why are you going to set up next door?
Yeah.
So be aware of who's around you. Like, and
The
it happens.
surroundings.
It happens so much. Like the lake could be empty, and all of a sudden someone wants to come and slot in next to you, and it's almost like they've seen you and gone, well, it's there for a reason, so I'm going to go next door. So I'd say, yeah, be aware of.
Interesting.
That's my biggest one. I'd say be
Yeah.
aware of who's around you.
All right. I would probably say, which is very hard to keep in place nowadays because of the way carp fishing is and how busy it is nowadays. But if you're on a syndicate, especially a small syndicate, and you're seeing people regularly work in an area and like putting time into an area, like naturally, just from the way I've grown up into carp fishing, I just feel, even if I don't know that person, I feel obliged to like let them do their
leave
thing.
it alone.
Leave it alone. They're focusing a lot of time and effort into that area. As much as I want to be in there, maybe as well. Sometimes I'll just leave them to it.
Sort of falls under that same category. Be aware, innit?
And I'll go and do my own thing elsewhere. Maybe wait for my turn or whatever. Like, I don't want to catch a fish off of someone else's back, basically. So, in my eyes, I'm like, leave someone to do their thing, then it's your turn after. If you want to do it in the same swim, but I feel like have that respect, or you should have that respect for other anglers. It's a hard one because there's other people that go out there baiting ridiculously and like almost ruining it for everyone on that lake. There's those big baiters that come in and just destroy lakes, and I think that's another thing to talk about etiquette. Like, don't go in there just baiting up ridiculously amounts just to put all the favours into your swim. Just to fuck up.
Overbaiting.
You can overbait swims. Like, let's just not be. We don't all need to be Jim Shelley. You know what I mean?
Yeah, overbaiting. Big up, Jim.
Yeah, big up, Jim. but yeah, it's I'll just say just respect. If someone's working an area, just respect it. Leave them to do their thing.
And it happens too much now. It happens too much. Like, people are actually going out of their way to look at what people are doing, or like the amount of times I can sort of recall being over on Larky and the railway and stuff now. Like, now it's sort of changed, and there's anglers on there that never wanted to fish it. When it was how it was, they never wanted to fish it. But now it's been restocked. Now they want to. Now they want to go on there because there's a chance of having a few, instead of having like 5 or 6 a year. Now you're going to have like 20 or 30 because there's stockies and that in there. But they're outright going out of their way to. Yeah, hello, mate. What, you off? I see you have 2 last night. Where you been casting to?
Savages.
Savage. Ruthless. It's almost become, like, we touched on it earlier in the pub, didn't we? It's become sort of fashionable now to be a punisher.
Yeah. Well, we were saying that, like, I fish day tickets and syndicates, but there's that day ticket sort of style we were talking about. It's just like, at a day ticket, because it's like 1 in, 1 out on most places like Linear and Farlow's and Fort Plea, and then you've got Twinehurst and Thorny Weir and these busy day tickets that are really good, cool lakes to fish. You've got 1 in, 1 out, and you almost forced into that situation to go into a peg and go, oh mate, how many you had? Where are you fishing? Like, I'm gonna jump in behind you. Can I bucket up behind you? Like, but then those sort of people then go to syndicates and do the same thing. Whereas at a syndicate, I think it's like not frowned upon, but it's just like it's not the way. Is
it's
it?
not the way. No,
it's not the way. If you do that at syndicate, I feel like you're gonna, I don't know, just be pushed aside quite quickly. To sound ruthless, it's just not going to be taken very well because it's that respect at a syndicate, I find. But you are losing that in syndicates nowadays. As well.
It's getting lost.
Yeah, it's getting lost. But yeah,
good points. Here we go. Number 3.
Hello, chaps. Matty boy, you've shared many a good story with me over a pint down the boardroom, so I'm buzzing to see you on here, mate. My question to you is, what is the strangest or weirdest thing that's ever happened to you whilst fishing on the bank?
Holding a cock, innit?
We've already touched on that.
No, that's every Friday night.
Oh, right, okay. What's that?
The weirdest thing.
I don't know.
Come on.
So much has happened, but I don't know. I'd say a funny story would be COVID year, fishing the railway. There weren't many of us fishing it at the time, This one particular night, it was me and 2 others on. My mate was behind me. We were on the centre path in between Larky and Railway, and he was fishing Larky. We were having a bit of a social, and it's like height of summer, and a fella's come on the lake on a pink lilo, and he paddles out to the middle of that. He's got a bucket with him full of beers. Right?
Not bait. You sure it weren't someone baiting
No,
up?
it weren't bait. Right? He's fucking like Stellas, like big bottles of Stellas, right, in this bucket. Because that's what I thought at first. Like he's just going out the bait.
Edgy.
Chuck me bait out, mate. But as he's sort of paddling out into the the middle of the lake, he's like, she's this, she's that. Like, he's obviously had a row with his missus, yeah.
Blow up.
And the first thing he's grabbed is her pink lilo, innit, on his way out, as well as a bucket and a load of beers. But what I will say is, every time he opened a beer, he put it back in his, like, he's empty, he put it in his bucket.
Yeah.
He didn't throw anything. Like, he was good as gold. But he was, like, engaging with us all night. Like, boys, have you got missus? We're like, yeah. He's like, oh, get rid of them. You don't need them. You don't need this.
Just on a pink lilo.
And then you could hear him, like, every so often. Like,
Out shouting you.
You could hear, like, he'd go a little bit quiet. Yeah, he was out shouting. But then he'd go a little bit quiet, and you could hear him go, like, where he's muttering to himself. Like,
fuck.
As it got dark, I'm like, shit. Like, it's like where he's out in deep water now, and it was a weedy lake.
Quite dangerous, yeah.
He's out drinking beers, and he's quite clearly, like, well intoxicated. And it's getting dark, and I remember shouting to him. I was like, mate, it's getting dark now, be careful. Don't worry about me, bruv, I'm going back to the other side. All right, mate, yeah, all right, no worries. So he's woke up in the morning, and he is sprawled out on his lay-low, like on the railway track side. He's underneath the willows, and he's like, got his bucket.
Still in the lake?
Yeah, no, he's up against the bank now. He's drifted to the side, and he's just asleep on his lilo with his bucket. And the old bill have come round, someone's reported him. And as they've come round to us, they was like, oh, we've had reports of someone out on the lake shouting all night. I was like, well, you're sort of 12 hours late.
Yeah.
Like, he could have died last night.
Easily, yeah.
I said, funnily enough, he's over there. I said, but he weren't no problem. I said, so whoever's put the complaint in, I said, I'm not complaining. Like, he's had a row with his missus. He hasn't caused any drama. He's got his fucking rubbish and that with him. Like, he's just asleep over there.
Yeah. Good man.
And I'll give them their props. They went round and had a chat with him, and they didn't arrest him or anything. He just packed up and went.
Fair play.
But yeah, that's I'll
Good
always recall that one.
Yeah.
Always recall that one.
A good one.
I'd love to know what he looked like so I could have a chat with him before I ever bumped into him. But yeah, he's
Sounds
obviously having a bad
like
time.
you would do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Legend. But yeah, I'd say that's one of the I'd say not the strangest, but funniest. The
one I can say on here is what you think.
Well, no, something that didn't happen to me directly, but I turned up. This is probably the weirdest. So my mate Dan was fishing on the ocean, and I was popping down to see him. And I've walked in his swim with a bag of beers, and I leant up. He's sort of in these bushes on the ocean, and up against the tree was like a big sort of heap of dust. And I'm like, what is that? I've walked in the swim. I'm like, Dan, what's that dust like? And there's like bits of bone and.
Ooh.
And he's looked at me and he's like, mate, you've just missed it. And I went, what? He's like, a fella's just walked in here with an urn.
Shut up.
And he's gone...
the front door.
What's it like? Cremation? Like they've...
Yeah.
That is wild.
And he's gone
just
to
dumped it.
He's gone to Dan, I spread my dog's ashes in here a few
I was
weeks
going
back.
to say, was it a cat or a dog?
So Dan's like, oh, well, right, yeah. And expected him to say, oh, it's my other dog. And he's gone, oh, it's my mum. Do you mind me spreading him? Like, and
No.
So now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh. I was like seeing bits of hip bone and all sorts, you know what I mean?
no.
Like splinters of bone and that.
That is wild.
And it was there for weeks.
That's a bit on there, boy.
It was there for weeks, mate. And Dan just carried on fishing. Like, he just laughed at it. I was going, mate, it proper weirded me out.
Yeah, it would weird me out as well. Like, just knowing that you're just laying in bed going, it's a body just...
But how ballsy is that to walk in the
burn
summer swim and
and
just
to the
chuck your
side
mum
of
up a tree in front of another geezer? Why would you... Like,
Why would you do that?
Sorry, mate. Shit, see you later, mum.
Yeah.
Here's Dan.
Fucking hell.
That is wild.
That is
Madness.
You wait till a dude with the pink lilo fucking comes back with his girlfriend, didn't he?
Yeah. That's what I was dashing her about. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's all going on. Right, number 4. What we got here?
Last one, is it?
Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen. I hope we're all well. Matty Hennon. It's Basden here.
Is that Baz again?
No, it's Basden.
I'm not
This
going
is
to tell the
Basden.
story myself. I'll leave it to you, Matty. But you must tell the story about a phone call you once received from a friend of ours telling you that a very special fish on Larky had been seen belly up floating down the lake. So what was awful news ended up being quite an amusing story. So I'll leave that to you, mate. But I'm going to end my little voice clip by singing part of a song just for you, Matty.
Go on, boy.
So, don't waste your time on me. You're already the voice inside my head. I miss
What a
you.
legend.
You jelly.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of time for that.
that's
Fucking
funny.
fair play.
That's I think that wins that hands
well,
down, doesn't it?
no, the first one
Do you
was
think?
good as well.
Oh,
Both Bazes are fucking on fire.
It gets confusing, doesn't it, Baz and Basden?
But mate, fair play. That's how you do a voice note. Fucking hell. What's that story though?
Right, so Joshy Basden was fishing in the motorbike on Larky, and opposite him was one of our mates, Ad, who was fishing in the rushes on Larky. So they're opposite each other. So motorbike, rushes is on the centre path, and then behind Ad was Baz. So you've got Josh Basden in motorbike, you've got Ad in rushes, and then behind Ad fishing the railway is Baz in the bridge. I get a phone call from Ad telling me that a fish known as the pinhead has gone belly up and it's floating past him. So I'm like, oh, mate. And this pinhead is like a once every sort of 18 months fish. Low 30. I'll show you a picture of it. It's a real
Special one?
Yeah, it's a real mega carp, man. Real mega common. It's like it's a breeze block of a carp. It's got a tiny wrist.
I know, like the Redmar sort of
Yeah,
style, like
man,
pinhead.
like,
I can
yeah,
imagine
really
it now,
tight.
like little shoulders, pinhead.
Serious
common.
carp.
Yeah.
Serious carp.
I can picture it.
So I'm like, oh no, I've got to go and get the boat out. Right, and it's late. And I was, she won't mind me saying, but I was on a promise. So I didn't want to leave. So I'm like, oh mate, I'm like, the kids ain't at home, I'm on a promise. I've got to go down the lake now. So I said to her, I was like, babe, I've got to go. She's like, why? Like, the pinhead's dead.
Savage.
Pinhead's dead, I've got to go and bury him. And he was adamant.
I bet she was like, you're fucking dead in a minute. If you
Yeah, I had to live in the doghouse for a bit, but
Nothing new for us carp anglers,
yeah,
is it?
yeah. Which is, you sort of live by it, didn't you? It was a promise, but it probably weren't a promise. It was just to keep me at home. Yeah, so I've gone down. I've got the boat out, and I've taken it down. And Ad's like, mate, I'm telling you, like 100% it's the pinhead. I've watched it in my binos come past the swim. By this point now, it's drifted to his right, and it's out sort of in front of Josh. So I've gone out on the boat, and it was a real weird night. Like, it was height of summer. It was late at night. It was sort of like 8 o'clock. So it's still light, but the light's starting to fade a bit. Like, but it was like it was really quiet, which is strange for the country park. Really quiet, and I could sort of feel the tension when I'm because of the fish, the magnitude of that carp. Anyone that knows about that carp, like, no one wants that carp to be dead.
No.
So by this point you've got Baz and his son, and Ad standing together watching me, and you've got Josh Basden in motorbike watching me. So I've got these eyes, and I could sort of cut the tension with a knife. The way I was, like, the atmosphere was thick, and I'm rowing out to this fish, and I'm 50 yards away from it now. And I can quite clearly see it's not the pinhead. And I'm like, what the fuck were you looking at through the binos, mate? Because I can see from 50 yards away that ain't a carp. But I haven't said anything at this point, and everyone's like on sort of tender hooks. And I get sort of 10 yards away from it, and I just burst out laughing.
No way.
High pitched squealing. And I'll turn round, and it is like, and this is where the shouting got, like, people would have heard me throughout the country park. I'll turn around, I was like, And what the fuck are you looking at? It's a tench.
Right.
Right, so Josh Basden, and I'll have to send you the video. He's videoing it at this point, and he just bursts out into fits of laughter. So now, all of a sudden, all you can hear now through the country park is Josh laughing, Baz is laughing. His little son ain't got a clue what's going on, but he's laughing. Right? And I've looked around, and we're all just hammering Ad, and all he could say was, "Well, it's a good job it weren't a pinhead, isn't it?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got me out of a promise, mate. Like, and I've come down to deal with.
I'm now in the doghouse for dead tench.
I literally
love tench. Don't get me wrong, but
I got my oar and just poked it underneath a set of snags.
Just let it rot.
Yeah, let the fucking fish have that. To add insult to injury, I'm not taking that out the lake. It was bloated out. Like, bearing in mind, the pinhead's a £30 common.
Fucking hell.
And this thing was a bloated out £10 tench. Like £10 at bloating weight as well, not like, it was probably a £6. How can you mix up a
I'll be livid, mate.
But yeah, like,
getting the end away, you know what I mean?
Josh is sort of outed Ad there, so sorry Ad, mate, it's out there now.
Savage.
What? So who do you reckon? Who's going to win the lucky prize of the boilie caddy from Spiro?
It's hard, isn't it? It's got to be between Baz and Basden.
They're both good. I like the first one. A lot of energy. But then the last one with the singing.
Anyone who sings.
The singing just done me, didn't it?
And that is, let's have it right.
Waste your time.
Hello there, the angel of my nightmare.
That just done me.
That is that's an anthem, that, by the way.
I feel like that just sets us.
Who sung it? Was it
Green Day?
Green Day.
Was it Green Day? Are we
Is it
sure?
Green Day?
Is it Green Day does it?
Don't waste me. Yeah,
Green Day. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's either Sum 41 or Blink 182.
Might be Blink 182.
Google it.
Fuck, we're gonna get radical.
You got to Google this. You can't edit it out now. You got to Google it.
Google it.
It must be Blink 182. Yeah.
Hello
right.
there, the angel of my nightmare.
Yeah, it's Blink 182. Sorry, when you said Green Day.
Sorry, Green Day. Sorry, Blink 182.
Yeah. No, it's definitely Blink 182. 100%.
That's an anthem.
It is an anthem, mate. It's our era, isn't it?
That is an anthem.
The 90s, mate.
Blink 182.
The 90s. Punk.
That's awkward.
But yeah, so what are you going to go for?
It's got to be Basden, isn't it?
It's got to be Basden.
Do you know what? I thought he was actually going to bring up the story about the canoe, but he didn't.
Well, you've just brought up the story about
that was a better story. I thought
Should we save that for another podcast, or are you going to enlighten us now?
Well, it's up to you. I don't mind. If there's room for one more story, I can tell a story about it.
We're tight, but we might be able to do one more.
Let's try it.
We
can always cut it out if it's a shit story.
It sort of wraps around.
We'll just fucking cut it out. We'll cut it here if it's shit.
Nice to see you, boys.
Hello there.
I'll tell you, it was. So it's on the ocean. I was doing a bit on the ocean, and it sort of coincides with what we were talking about earlier, bringing carp onto the bank, carp onto the bank, the old gypsy blood. Mm-hmm. It was around the, it was around the Brokeback. Now, we was having a real problem with, so the Rhoden Island, half of the Rhoden Island, the bigger half of Rhoden Island's got a house bank which is out of bounds. Now, them houses were using kayaks and canoes under cover of darkness, and they were just going out into the lake.
What, just for fun? Or?
Yeah. And there's this one bloke that was, it was a battered kayak, and a metre up the bank, from the water's edge, a metre up is fishery property, and he'd leave this battered up kayak always at water's edge, and he was just going out willy-nilly doing whatever he wanted to do. And obviously, it's a deep lake, it's weedy, and we was forever having problems. Like, he's going over people's lines, and so that particular night I was on the ocean. I come up with a master plan that we was going to nick the kayak.
Of course you did.
So I'd come up with it, like I'd said about it earlier in the day, and I sort of forgot about it. Now I've got everything set, and the thing is on the ocean, like, it's full of tench. So I never used to put my rods out. So I'd sort of set an alarm for like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then put my rods out.
Fucking hell,
otherwise you would just get plagued by tench.
Yeah,
so I used to get an early night, set my alarm, and whack, like, it was all on clips, like, so I knew where I was casting, got all the spots sorted. I put my rods out at like sort of 3, half 3. So everything's set and that, radio on, well, like speaker on, listening to music, and it's got dark, and I had a phone call from one of the boys, and he goes, "Are we going to nick this kayak then?" And I went, "Oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that." I was like, "Oh man, I got no one with me. I'm on the ocean now. It's public." And I'm like, I could come back and my gear could be gone. Like, especially at that time, because you get like, I've had people poke their head in my bivvy.
Yeah, especially around there.
"Hello, mate.
Yeah.
Do you mind me having a joint on the bench behind you?"
Yeah.
Like all that. People rummaging through your stuff and that. There's all that went on. So, yeah, there was a high chance that my gear might not have been there. Anyway, I thought, fuck it, yeah, whatever. Rods are out in the water on storm poles, so worst case, I'm sleeping on. My rods are out there, my net will be fine because that's out there. Worst case, I just won't have a bivvy and bed chair and that. I'll just sleep on the grass. So I've got, where I was fishing, there's to my right, like 40 yards to my right, as the country park goes round, there's a gate so you can go out onto the main road. So my mates picked me up there, and we've gone along to this house, like down into the housing estate of Rhode Island. And as you go in and turn right, there's just a big stretch of houses. It's like a boulevard, big stretch of houses. But then off the left, there's big car parks with houses dotted around these car parks. Then there's the water's edge. And he parks up on the street. He don't go into the car park. He parks up on the street, and he gets out, and he's wearing a hoodie with his name on it. So as he's walking across he's in front of me. So I start laughing, and I'm like, "What are you doing? You've got your name on your hoodie."
You can just imagine the police like, "Who is it?"
So he puts his hood up. And I'm like, "Well, that's not going to shield you from the name that's on the back. So now I'm in bits." Like, and he goes, "Oh, like, what if people have got Ring doorbells?" "Oh, well, you're fucked, didn't you?"
Yeah.
Like, you got your name on your hoodie, you donut.
Worst criminal ever.
Yeah, worst criminal ever. So we get down, anyway, we go through the car park, and then we're at the water's edge, and I'm looking at the kayak. It's literally like at the water's edge. It's like a little bit of rope sort of pegged into the water's edge there. And I'm looking at it, and he turns left. I go, "Mate, what are you doing?" And he's like, "The kayak's over here." I'm like, "I'm looking at it, mate. Turn around, it's there." And he's going, "No, it's not. It's over here." I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the kayak. I've got my eyes on the kayak. Turn round. As I've looked, he's going along this house, and I've looked up, and he's directly underneath a window, and there is this young kid bouncing up on top of the sofa at 11 o'clock in the evening, watching telly. So I've gone, "Mate, don't move. There's a kid above you in the window." So he jumps, puts his arms out, and goes, "No way." So now my jaw's hit the floor, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, surely not."
It's like he's taking tips from like Home Alone or something.
Yeah,
you know?
you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, that you've got your name on the back of your hoodie. Now you've jumped up in front of the but luckily the kid ain't seen him. So then he starts walking backwards like that, and I'm like, "Mate, come on." So I'm in bits now, and I've hopped the hedge, and I'm laughing at him.
My head.
Just absolutely rolling up at him, and I chuck the kayak over to him. So I've got one end of it, and he's got the other end, and we're walking out the car park now, and we get onto the main stretch, and a couple comes out the house, and like, he shit himself. Couples come out the house, and I've just gone, "Evening," and the woman's gone, "Oh, are you all right?" They've obviously had a few drinks. She's all merry. "Oh, are you doing a bit of kayaking?" Yeah, it's getting a bit too dark now, isn't it? "All right, yeah, have a good evening." "Yeah, and you?" And he's gone, "Oh, do you reckon they see my name? Do you reckon they see my name?" Shut up. Like, it's on your back, you're looking at her, you don't know, ain't on the front.
Fucking donkey.
So we've chucked this kayak in the back of his van, and this kayak was like 8 foot, and it's hanging out 2 foot, so we've sort of bungeed it up in the back of his van. Left, and stopped down the road just to make sure it was all good, and then he's dropped me off back at that gate. And as I got out the motor, I said to him, "Make sure you get back to the swim all right," because he was fishing as well. Like, "let me know, and I will call you in the morning when I've got the boat back in the net." He left me, and that next morning,
No way.
it all unfolded.
Shut up.
It all unfolded. Yeah, I had laughing our bollocks off. He texted me in the morning saying, "I'm really scared," because he was hearing sirens all night. So he was scared that he was going to get nicked. was like, you don't know. It's at the water's edge. We've confiscated it. It's like we kept it in the lockup for ages to see if anyone would come forward about it, but they didn't. So I was like, mate, you ain't gonna get nicked. But yeah, that morning, went on to. It was a weird old morning.
You sent me photos of that one.
Yeah, I sent you photos of that one. That's
we'll post the photos.
Yeah, the Brokeback Lynn.
Yeah.
It's hadn't been out for.
What are the chances though? Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's madness.
What a night.
Madness.
Called again. Almost spoke it on the bank. Didn't you?
Yeah. I'd seen it.
I'd seen it
like 3 weeks before.
That's mad.
And it was like all guns blazing for that CARP. So it was all I was talking. I was doing the boys' heads in about it because it's all I was talking about. But yeah, that morning, so that happened in the evening, and then my mates. I was fishing. It was the Wednesday night that happened. So it was the Thursday morning I caught it. I took the Thursday and the Friday off. It was my mate's wedding on the Sunday, and I had his best man speech to write. And I purposely left it until right last knockings, so I didn't stress out about it.
I'll do that.
So I left it till right last knockings, and I had this really weird moment come over me where I sat on the bench behind me swim, finished the speech. I'd read it back, and I had this weight lift off my shoulders. I read it back, and I thought, that's the bollocks, man. And a dog walker come walking down.
I went, no, that's shit, mate.
Yeah, shit. Oh, you ain't reading that out, are you?
Wouldn't say that, mate.
You ain't reading that out, mate.
So gone.
Fucking yeah. And he's gone, had anything, mate? No, it's the ocean, innit? And he was like, I've walked round this lake for 30 odd years and I have never seen anything on the bank. And at that moment, my left-hand rod just went,
no.
Wee!
Wow.
So I've jumped off. I had my waders on ready. Jumped off the bench, phone's gone. He's come running down the hill with me. He's grabbed the net, tried giving me the net before I'd even picked up the rod. And I'm like playing this fish. It weeded me up. I've got back out the water, run back up the hill and stood on the bench. Got it up out the weed bed. And luckily it just come in like a sack of shit, just in a big ball of weed.
Yeah, sometimes it. Yeah.
Just could see the tail, netted it. And as I'm parting it, this is where I said about the leaders parting it, and it's just zebras all up the line and the leader, and it's fraying. And all of a sudden I see this head. I'm like, fuck, it's the Brokeback. And I turned round, grabbed hold of him, and I went, fucking yes! And he's gone, not an angler either, and I've sort of come round and I'm like, oh mate, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he was like, oh.
Yeah, but it's 30 years of not seeing a fish on a bank, but he probably understood.
Mate, he was like that. He was like, I didn't know this could... and I'm still shaking him, and he's going, I didn't know CARP could do this. And I've gone, mate, it's the Brokeback. And his dog sat there looking at me like...
What a legend.
But I had that little magical moment with him. And, mate, he gave me a big cuddle. I sort of spiked it out. And before I rung the boys, he gave me this massive cuddle before he left.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny old, just that sort of 12-hour period.
Fucking sounds it. Jesus.
I caught the CARP. We nicked the boat at 11. I caught the CARP at 11:15. So yeah, 12 hours, 15 minutes. Funny old story.
We're running out of time here, but mate, there's so much to talk about. We definitely have to get you back on. Some of the other captures you've had around the other pits, and I'm sure there's plenty more stories. And I'm hoping that some of your other mates will get more involved. But I wanted to finish it because you spoke to me before you came on about your ADHD and stuff, and that. And I like to finish on a little bit of a joke, or I'm going to start finishing on a little bit of a joke. This came up on my feed the other day, and I thought I've got to save that for Matt because he'll probably find it funny. But let's finish on this. See if I can turn this up.
I know it's 2025. Everyone does. But I've got the old one, you know? There's a new one, but I've got the old one. You know, like the new one's like, I'm on a spectrum. The old one's like, I'm on a roof, cunt. It's me, Trick and Woman. Summer's on fire, we're up here, we're unmedicated. Got ADHD.
That just fucking tickled me.
It's true, though.
Because my missus is, like, honestly, she's fucking adamant that I'm on the fucking...
Mate, I think a lot of us are.
She definitely thinks I'm on.
What anglers are you talking about? Have ADHD?
Just people in general.
People in general.
Right.
There's different styles of it, I think.
My little boy's riddled with it, and it is like talking to his Senko. So it wasn't really a big thing, was it, when we were kids? Like,
no.
But talking to his Senko, like then she starts saying that it's hereditary, and
Oh, really?
So yeah, basically it's my fault that he's got it. But mate, he's just me in tiny form.
I don't think it's a bad thing, mate. I think it's great.
High functioning.
Yeah.
High functioning. Intense in periods.
Yeah.
Do you ever have like hyper focus?
Yeah, on certain
things. You can like get into something.
Yeah, certain things, and I'm really.
That's what I find, and that's what Sally thinks that I've got.
Yeah, you'll get into the
once my head goes onto something, like there's no turning it.
Yeah,
until I start doing it or start investigating it, I'm like, that's I'm like that.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, yeah, there's definitely something there.
There's a word for it, isn't there? What's the word for that? When you just have to do something straight away.
Impulsive.
Very impulsive.
Yeah.
Like I will just go and spend silly amounts of money on something straight away because
I'm like that. Yeah,
I'm murder for it.
But I've never been told that I've got ADHD. I'm not gonna sit there and own that. But I've definitely got traits of it. I think, and I'm starting to notice it as I get older.
Yeah.
Like more
it might be easier when you see it in your kids or something. Do you know what I mean?
But it made me laugh that when it came up. I was like, and it was only like a few days ago. He's like, I've got ADHD, but I've got the old one. And it's fucking funny, and he's doing an Aussie accent, which makes it better. And he's like, what's that guy? He's like, I'm on the fucking roof, cunt. Like, yeah, that just cracked me up. And that is there's people seem to be like, I need to be listed.
Anything's
nowadays.
better in an Aussie accent. I like just takes me back to the Big Les shows. You watch Big Les show?
Yeah, anything's better in an Aussie accent, mate. Or any accent, like even Scottish or fucking Welsh or anything. Yeah, anything's better in an accent.
Yeah, Scottish. No, I think it's a funny old thing to have, but I'd say being a scaffolder enables me to be fully me. I wouldn't be able to do anything else.
And a carp hanger, I suppose.
Yeah, and a carp hanger.
It allows you to be a bit free, I think. Yeah. So
I can shout, and I have these real weird, like John, who asked one of the questions. Like he was one of my supervisors at work, and I would just randomly have like spontaneous outbursts in his office and smash it up. And he always used to say, "You're like a chimp." It's like watching a chimp in the zoo. Like, I'll just be sat there normal. I'll just have me food, and then something will come over me, and I'll just start flipping chairs.
And just
start laughing.
Start being destructive. Yeah. I get it.
Get your cock out, mate. I'll hold it.
And on that note,
on that bombshell, we'll finish it there. But we'll definitely get you back on. I appreciate you making the effort, coming over.
Been fantastic.
Thanks for the beer.
Yes, Matty. Thank you for the beer.
The old
stories.
What was his name? Basildon?
Yeah, Josh Basden.
Josh Basden, well done, mate. You well earned that with your singing voice.
Yeah.
I'll stick to carp fishing, but yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. It goes a long way, keeps this thing going, and let us know who you want. In next. Obviously, we've
got to get Kodak.
Kodak
Bates.
You shouted him out. Yeah.
I'm going to speak to him. You need Kodak on.
Yeah, Till messaged me and said you need Kodak. So Kodak, coming for you.
Kodak, get your ass on here, mate.
But anyone else, got some funny stories. Just shout it out, and we're happy to get them on. So yeah, thanks for coming on, and appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
Happy
mate.
days.